Hello, everybody, and welcome to What's the Crack, or Craic In Time, whatever you want to call it. It's the new show that myself and Ninja Knight do for you guys. He's finally back. He's been busy the last couple of weeks, so we'll just wait for him to come on. I have sent him the email, but we have been having problems with the email, so if he pops into the live chat there, we'll wait until he comes in, and we'll give him the link. I hope you are all doing well. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. And I just want to give a special shout out to the wife. Obviously, she did a stream last night. If you haven't watched it, it's the only thing that I'm going to say. If you haven't watched it, go and check it out. There was some really good points made last night on the stream. So if you want to go and check it out, check it out. But as we said last night, we're going to concentrate on what we do on this channel, which is obviously talk about pop culture and all of that. So when Ninja Knight does come on, we're going to be talking about Disney Plus. We're going to be talking about all the shows obviously they have announced. We'll obviously be talking also about some of the Marvel stuff that they've released as well. I'm pretty sure you'll have one or two articles himself to bring up, but we won't be talking about The Mandalorian because he hasn't watched it. So I think he's behind. So we won't be discussing The Mandalorian, but I did watch The Mandalorian episode last night with Cheryl. Absolutely loved it. So it was fantastic. But as I said, this is what as I said last night, this is what we're going to concentrate on doing, because this is why people subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't checked out the stream from last night, please do check it out. It's an important stream in my opinion. There was a lot of Cheryl came on to give her points of view. She came across quite well, if you ask me. So I just want to say well done to my wife, because she was absolutely fantastic. And of course, little Teddy. You all loved little Teddy as well, didn't you? So so that was good as well. I'm glad you all enjoyed his company too. So obviously, as I said, I just seen Ninja Knight pop up there, but then he came out of the studio, so he might be having a couple of issues. So as I said, we'll give him a couple of minutes. I'm sharing the link. Do me a favor, guys. Will you share the link for me? We've got 23 people watching right now at the moment. I'm sharing the link as we speak. There he is. There he is. I'll bring him on. So he hasn't been here in a while. I'm delighted to welcome him back. He was on the move for a while, and obviously coming up to Christmas, everybody is busy as well. So I'd like to welcome back the one and only and fellow Irishman, Ninja Knight.
How's it going, man?
How are you? How are you? First of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing? How's the move?
All's good, yeah. Everything's settled now. We're starting to get to normality and back to the likes of the streaming. So very happy. We've been on Rabbi's channel as well, and I suppose me and you have kind of missed timing in terms of certain times as well too. Yeah, so true. I've been keeping an eye on your streams though, and I've been keeping an eye on your gaming streams as well too, which has been absolutely fantastic. So keep up the good work. I've seen your stream there yesterday that you did with Cheryl. I had to say it was wonderful to watch, wonderful to hear from herself as well too. And I think you are fantastic together, and it's just absolutely tremendous that you have that opportunity to talk online. But yeah, thanks very much for having me back. And I know it's been a bit irritating for you trying to set things up, and I'm all over the place a little bit. But
listen,
a bit of normality is starting to resume.
Place as well, mate. There'll be fucking sleep patterns all over the shop. So even if you had a text, say last week, say you stream, and sure, I didn't get up till fucking 8 o'clock in the evening. So her sleep patterns are all over the place because she hasn't been well, and neither have I. But it's not wanting to stop us from doing that. And it's just like, just run down really. I think it's because you know, we haven't been very active during this lockdown.
Yeah.
Hasn't
We've
been getting out and about a little bit more now, so you know we're just a little bit run down at the moment, but we'll be fine.
Well, I think the struggle of what's going on over the last couple of especially over the last couple of weeks and months particularly is obviously, you know, it's hitting different people in different ways. Personally, for me, it's like I like my own solitude. I like being on my own. I like doing my own thing, so it's not too bad. But
listen, me personally, I'm like you. I'd rather look. If this thing was to last forever, it doesn't bother me, to be quite honest, because I don't mind staying at home. I don't really like interacting with other human beings.
I'll be honest, I'm the same. Like,
I just fucking hate people nowadays because there's just, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's like to bleed something.
It's like even the cinema thing. Like I'm seeing an awful lot of people even that follow my channel, and they're like, you know, you don't seem too upset about cinemas going away, and I'm like, no, because I mean, some of the behaviour that I've seen in cinemas over the last couple of years, particularly from the general audience, I mean, it just really annoys you. It heightens to the stress of going to a movie that you're not going to go and enjoy it. Like, my first thought of going to a movie when I'm going to see it in a cinema is like, is there going to be any dickhead that's going to be starting to mess now during this movie? Like, do you know what I mean? And am I going to have to say something or deal with it? Like, and to me, that just ruins the experience. Whereas this stuff going all to stream, and I'm like, grand, happy days, I'm at home. I know what to expect.
Right, well, listen, since you've been away, obviously there's been a lot of announcements made by Disney Plus and Marvel Studios. So I think because, you know, obviously you would have been catching up the last couple of days since you've been back online doing your thing. So you've kind of had a little few days to think about what shows they've announced and how you feel about them. So I think we'll concentrate today's stream on that, because I know you're more familiar with the Star Wars stuff and the Marvel stuff. So I don't know, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Disney Plus shows first, or do you want to start with the Marvel shows first? Or is there anything, is there any articles you want to throw? Because I know you did normally have a few articles that you'd like to read out. Is there anything that you want
I've none prepared at the moment.
Right, well,
I'm decidedly unprepared.
We'll start with Marvel, because Marvel is very interesting. We know you're going to have a lot to say about the Disney Plus shows, but we'll start with Marvel first. So obviously, as you know, Kathleen Kennedy announced all these she announced the Marvel shows, I'm not sure, but
Kevin Feige did,
anyway, for Marvel, 10 Marvel shows, if I'm correct, and 10 Star Wars shows. First of all, I want to ask you, were you surprised like me that they all of a sudden they came out with the 20 shows? Basically, they're going to create 20 shows, right? Disney brand is going to create 20 shows. Me personally, this is what I was saying when it was first announced, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. I was saying, okay, this all looks decent enough, but the problem I have is that there seems to be so many shows. They for me, if this isn't done properly, i.e., if they don't take their time with this, like wait until each show is established before they release the next one, they could find themselves in the spot of bother. Or do you think that they're throwing out the 10 shows, hoping that, say, maybe half of them stick, and then they don't care? You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? They're throwing out all these shows, see which ones stick, and then they're the ones they'll go with. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the whole announcement? And let me know your thoughts and feelings on, do you think if this is a good thing, or do you think this is a bad thing?
I think it's very difficult to make Kathleen Kennedy look good, and I think that's exactly what Kevin Feige did. I thought the Marvel panel was an absolute disaster, and there's a couple of reasons why. I've uploaded a video in terms of like going through the slate and what I thought about it, but I think to kind of keep it short and sweet in certain way of talking about it, over the last day or so, we've learned information that there's behind the scenes working going on legally with the actors and the directors in terms of stuff being altered now to, if it doesn't go to a cinema, what happens? It goes to streaming then. So obviously people are losing residuals, or they're losing certain things, they're losing certain perks and privileges. We have heard a heavy rumor at the moment, that Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot have been paid $10 million plus each to play as HBO Max, because these people realize that this is going to be the way going forward. Now, what streaming services do, as you well know, is they are able to conceal the numbers of people that are watching them. So, for example, they can come out and say to us, She-Hulk is the most popular show and it's the most watched TV show of all time. Well, how do we know? Because there's some sort of rating systems that are out there, but we ultimately have to trust the House of Mouse to tell us the truth of what's going on. Now, I think when you look at the slate itself, the slate to me is a narcissistic, egotistical slate from a company, and particularly a man in Kevin Feige that thinks he can do no wrong. Well, the banana peel is coming up soon, my friend, and there is going to be a massive slip. There's going to be a fall. And I thought myself, when you looked at the slate, what should have actually happened was they should have taken the last couple of months to a year to think about it and say, whoa, I don't think people are going to be interested in this. Maybe we shouldn't do that. So for example, like the likes of Captain Marvel 2, who's interested in that? Who's interested in the Miss Marvel show? Miss Marvel is a character that has just lost $63 million for Square Enix. Her toy is on discount in toy shops. This is a character that is not liked. It's a comic book as well too that is flailing. So what do they think a TV show is going to do? Absolutely nothing. The only spot of something that interested me from the slate of 20 odd shows that they decided to spew out was maybe Spider-Man 3. And I don't even like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I'm more curious about the Spider-Verse aspect of it if Andrew Garfield comes back. Other than that, I don't care. And I mean, even the Fantastic Four, I'm like, okay, like, let's see which one of the characters you're going to race change or gender swap or have some sort of moniker or label attached to them. To me, it's just like, this seems like the train stopped for me now at Endgame, and this seems to be it now, I think, personally.
So, out of all the 20 shows that they've announced, there's not one show that pops out to you that you say has potential because of Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, well, I think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was something I was interested in that looked promising until the leak came that apparently from that show they basically the American government install a character as a character as Captain America, and that they have an issue with Sam Wilson being Captain America because he's black. Now, if that is the premise of the show, I'm not going to be interested in that whatsoever, because that is something I just don't want to see. It doesn't have a place in this day and age. It should be about the character and not what the character looks like,
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have to be honest. I watched the Patty Jenkins little teaser that she put out, and I have to be honest now. It did make me. I was all G'd up.
Were you really?
I really was. I think the fact that our father, she has this personal story. I think that's the reason why I think it might work with her show, or wherever it is, a film, isn't it? A film? Yeah. I don't know what it is.
It's called Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
She gave the history about our dad being a fighter pilot and all of those brave fighter pilots that lost their lives, and this was her way of kind of honoring our father. And I think if she is doing that within the context of this show, I think there might be a chance that we might get something decent here, Ninja. I can understand your point of view 100%. I know Star Wars fans are very skeptical, right, because of the sequel trilogy. And I don't blame you, so I really don't. But all I'd say is, and I'm not saying you are, but I have seen other Star Wars fans out there say, well, I'm not watching any of these shows.
Well, the Star Wars, Star Wars aspect of it is in big trouble as well. Like, I'm just talking about Marvel there, but Star Wars to me, I mean, it seems like they've gone mental. They've gone and said, well, The Mandalorian was successful, let's announce 10 shows. I mean, that is a ridiculous idea. I mean, Bob Iger not too long ago was telling people we have to slow down, we have to think about things, we can't just, whack this stuff out really easily. And now they've announced 10 shows and I think 2 movies that nobody has asked for. I mean, who's looking for Lando Calrissian? Who's looking for Cassian Andor? Who is looking for Star Wars Visions, where they're putting Star Wars in feudal Japan? I mean, when I heard anime, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then it was like, well, it's been designed by different people. And it's just like, who gives a shit about that? You know what I mean? And even the Bad Batch, the Bad Batch is something that Dave Filoni's interested in, and obviously has a personal sort of monetary, financial aspect of that. And then Ahsoka Tano gets a show, and I mean, she is just a terrible character. I don't care what anybody says. She is a woeful character that breaks canon. To me, what I would have been doing if I was them would be I would continue the Mandalorian, try to fix what happened in season 2. I haven't seen past the Ahsoka episode, by the way, so I'm not going to talk about spoilers from thereafter. But I would continue with the Mandalorian. I would have done the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. I wouldn't have had Darth Vader in it. I know a lot of people are going to go, whoa. I wouldn't have done that. I would have kept it kind of like, he's nearly a John Wick on a Tatooine, and these other characters try to come in and try to take Luke or something like that, something to that effect, and he's there to protect them. And then I would have done a third show, which was a post Order 66 Darth Vader show. It follows Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader. It follows James Earl Jones voicing that character whilst we still have him. And I think you focus on 3 very strong shows, and then you wait and see what the reception is to them. I think they're taking the eye off the ball. They're getting cocky. They're getting overeager. And I think that there is going to be far more problems going ahead than there is already.
Well, I've actually said, the thing is, though, it'll be the speed that they roll these shows out at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Mandalorian now. It'll be on its 3rd season when they start releasing stuff. Right, so the Mandalorian has been settled. It's had those couple of years. And this is the way I think they'd have to actually do it. So you got Mandalorian set. So you bring out your next show, but you give that a season or two to see how it goes before you release the next one. But what I reckon is going to happen is they'll release a new show, and then they'll release another one a couple of months later. Instead of waiting until each of these shows establish themselves in their own right, and then expand the universe. You know what I mean? Then keep slowly but surely expanding the universe. But I don't think personally myself, and that's where I have my problem with it. I don't think they'll do that. I think they're going to try rush all of these out, and I think they'll basically, it's like throwing a pizza against the wall to see if it sticks. That's what they'll do with these shows. They'll throw them all out and see which ones stick, and then they'll make decisions which ones they'll cancel. Which ones they'll only do one season of, and which ones they will continue. And that's what I think is going to happen. And I think that'll be a disaster personally, because, it took the Mandalorian. Let's be honest, everybody season 1 was very skeptical of the Mandalorian, but people went away from it saying, okay, I'm willing to give season 2 a chance. This is what will have to happen with the other shows. They'll have to establish them, but I don't think they will. I think Disney is rushing these out because obviously they're financially stumped like most companies out there, and they need the money. But I think they have, in fairness, I think they have overextended themselves. But I'm willing to give them a go, though, Ninja Knight, because, as I said, Mandalorian has made me fall in love with Star Wars. We watched the original trilogy, as you know, on this channel, and I do want to learn more, but I will watch the Clone Wars, and I will watch the other one. What's the other one called?
The Bad Batch. But like I said, what for me now as well too is a lot of the stuff throws up more issues with canon, especially because they're mucking around in the past, and particularly Kathleen Kennedy. Immediately she said Darth Vader's going to appear, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. And she's like, and they're going to have a rematch, and it's just like, have you not listened to what has been said in The New Hope? Did you not listen to them when Vader said, like, he left Obi-Wan and when he was a student and now he's the master? Did you not listen to any of that? Because, that showdown actually takes away from Dave Prowse's performance. It takes away from James Earl Jones's performance, and it takes away from Alec Guinness's performance, because that is supposed to be the first confrontation that those characters have had since Obi-Wan Kenobi did what he did to Anakin Skywalker. He's not supposed to have met him in the meantime. It's not like these characters are supposed to have interacted many times before. Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, that throws up more problems. But to me, like I said, Kathleen Kennedy isn't the sole problem that's going on with Star Wars. Dave Filoni is a very big problem in the Star Wars universe as well too, and people won't admit it. Dave Filoni is as big a problem in the Star Wars universe as Rian Johnson is. And I don't say that lightly. Rian Johnson caused an awful lot of problems, but Dave Filoni is as bad, if not worse. He's been doing damage for years.
Can I ask you why you don't? Because the Dave Filoni thing, I don't understand this. So if you can explain it to me a little, because as you know, that's why I bring you on, because you can kind of fill me in on what I'm missing here. Yeah. Well, I've watched Dave Filoni's done a couple of episodes of The Mandalorian, and I've found them okay. But you obviously do have a problem with what he's doing. So can you just explain to people out there that don't know the Dave Filoni situation, why you do feel the way you feel about Dave Filoni. If you could just give a few brief words. I don't want you to go into big detail because obviously we'll be here all night. We could probably go all night on that one because I do want to cover other stuff as well. Actually, I want to later on. I actually want to cover the Jake Paul stuff with you as well.
Okay,
yeah, because that was brilliant. But calling out Conor McGregor, but we'll do that later on. But tell people why you don't like Dave Filoni and why you have such a problem with him and why you think this is a bad idea.
Well, Dave Filoni's a guy, short and sweet, is a fella who was working with George Lucas and who introduced a number of concepts to the Star Wars universe that caused more problems than it could solve. He upended the culture of Mandalore. He installed a prominent SJW feminist characters into certain positions, particularly the likes of Mandalore, which is a warrior culture. And he decided then to defy George Lucas with the Ahsoka Tano character. The Ahsoka Tano character that he invented time travel for to break Disney and to break essentially Star Wars canon to save. He has constantly mucked around with ideas. He had Obi-Wan Kenobi having a sort of relationship with a character which is totally against the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He decided then he wanted to recast the Anakin Skywalker character with Matt Lanter so he wouldn't sound anything like Hayden Christensen, which is mind-boggling how a guy like that is allowed to do that. Dave Filoni as well too, for people that don't know out there that are listening and saying, oh, they think he's the savior. He was the guy to float the idea of Rey. He was the guy that was fully behind that. He gave the idea there's many versions of events where he has been at that he has said that. He tries to take credit for certain things, for example, like the Darth Maul arc that's in the Clone Wars. And then he just throws up so many inconsistencies and problems within the Star Wars universe that it's absolutely incomprehensible. Whereas the George Lucas version was far more tighter. So for me, the canon of Star Wars is episode 1, 2, the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's where it's at for me because for me, Filoni introduces too much to the lore that contradicts other parts of it as well. You know?
But if you said that he was there in Lucasfilm, would George Lucas has not been aware of the, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here for a second, would George Lucas have not been aware of the things that he was going to be doing, and would have George Lucas not have given some sort of green light for him to do some of the stuff that you've brought up?
He would have done in terms of the Clone Wars, the early seasons of Clone Wars, but with George Lucas exited the series before Clone Wars concluded. If I'm not mistaken, I think he exited within season 2 and 3, and I think he intended for Clone Wars only to go on for about 4. It went on to 7, and one of the staples that George Lucas left Filoni with was kill Ahsoka Tano or have her out, just gone permanently from the universe by the time this wraps up. Right. He didn't do that. He decided to do his own thing because you see Ahsoka Tano is a pet character. It's a character he created. You know, something that you will notice with Filoni is female characters very rarely die under his watch. And he has these Mary Sue characters constantly. It's a very easy trend to spot. You're spotting it with Rey, you're spotting it with Bo-Katan, you're spotting it now with Fennec Shand or Shard or whatever. You're spotting it as well too with the likes of Ahsoka Tano. And it's very easy to see that.
Right, well, thanks for filling me in because obviously I have to go and watch all of these shows myself to understand exactly where you're coming from, and that's what I plan on doing. But yeah, I mean, again, 10 shows to me just seems like, you know, they're blowing smoke up their own ass. Oh, look at us. And I think, you know, they have gotten such goodwill with Mandalorian. They probably have gotten cocky and thinking, right, well, they like the Mando, so let's roll out all of these shows that fans have, because it does, some of the shows that have been mentioned, I was kind of thinking, well, fans have been talking about they wanted these characters to have their own shows, and all of a sudden it looks like Disney. It's just, it seems to be a wish list, doesn't it? And it's the wrong fans that are kind of back in here. It's the fans that like these characters, as you said, that they say.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've totally bent the knee to the Ahsoka Tano fans, and I mean, the Ahsoka Tano fans are militant soy boys. I mean, these are people that are very, very loud. There's not an awful lot of them, you know, because like the merchandise even for Horde is quite limited when you look at it. So that would suggest to me that the character isn't overall loved or actually sells as well as people will try and let you believe. Like, for example, they had a character recently, a Ahsoka Tano figure that was a Walmart exclusive. I mean, that screams an awful lot to me to say that the character doesn't sell that much if it's not a wide release, you know?
Well, Dr. Davis says here, Filoni will not sacrifice any of his characters. Introducing time travel to Star Wars universe is just wrong. It has no place in the saga. So was he the one that introduced the time travel?
He created, his sole purpose of creating the time travel was to save Ahsoka Tano.
Wow. Now, see, I didn't know that.
Let that settle in. Nothing else. And just bear in mind, the character who was involved in the time travel to save Ahsoka went and heard various other key moments in the Star Wars universe. Anakin interacting with the Emperor. Anakin, I think, talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Various different moments in time in the Star Wars universe that were very important. And then he decided, I'll just take Ahsoka, you know, I'll get her. And actually, as a matter of fact, now that I'm recalling it, he took Ahsoka from her moment in time. It was like a teleporting system. It was very weirdly done. It reminds me of something else, because another thing with Filoni, when you look at some of his work, he rips it from other places. But he takes Ahsoka out of where she is. She's supposed to be killed by Darth Vader, takes her out. And Ahsoka, over the shoulder of this character, says, don't save that other person, because that other person died to help other people, and that was Kanan and Jarrus. And I was just like, oh my God, they've initially just made this character into a worse idiot.
So Lee Halford says, I'm cancelling my Disney Plus once Mandalorian finale airs Friday. Again, it's going to be interesting. The one thing that Ninja Knight is spot on about, though, is these streaming services, and it's not just Disney Plus. You know, you got Apple TV, you got HBO Max, you've got Amazon Prime, you've got all these streaming services now. And the thing about it is, we'll never find out how successful all of these shows are now, because it's different when it's on TV. You know, it's different when it's on digital TV, because they can actually, you know, do a rating. Whereas for these streaming services, as Ninja Knight rightly pointed out, they could actually, like, you know, exaggerate the numbers, and we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know how good.
But here's the thing as well. No, what if they created, say, bot accounts, and say, like, Captain Marvel 2 releases on streaming, right? And they pretend to say, I was really popular. They create bot accounts, and now I'm only throwing this out. I'm not saying that they do, but they create bot accounts, and they're saying, oh, that's our most watched and viewed TV show, or that's our most watched and viewed movie. We can't tell that. It's not like when you were in the cinema and you could visibly see, hey, Captain Marvel's not popular. Yeah. And I know that for a fact, because I have friends that worked in the cinema here in Ireland, and Captain Marvel was bounced out of the cinema fairly quickly, particularly out of IMAX.
It actually was in Ireland. I noticed that. And there wasn't many people in Ireland actually going to see that movie, because we in Ireland, we're very, let's be honest, we're a lot more harsher. We don't like all of this nonsense. And if we film with all of this nonsense, it doesn't do well. It was the same with Ghostbusters 2016 when it was released in Ireland. I remember that was on a limited run here. They literally got it out as fast as they could, because nobody was watching it. I mean, this is the thing. It is how, and this is what people don't understand. The cinema industry that was already in trouble, because of dud after dud after dud. You had Terminator Dark Fate, you had Ghostbusters 2016, you had what was the one that the woke Charlie's Angels. You know, they had dud after dud.
Boards of Prey.
What?
Boards of Prey was in there.
Boards of Prey as well, didn't you? And then you seen all the nonsense with that. Then you had the bots on Twitter saying, "Oh, well, I brought me husband and my son to see Boards of Prey because Sonic the Hedgehog. We went in to watch 5 minutes of Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was bad. It was a very bad movie. So we brought my son to watch Captain Marvel, and he loved it. And the funny thing was, the Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't even fucking released yet. It wasn't even released. It was a week later when it was released, and there was all these bots going around saying how bad Sonic the Hedgehog was. And guess what? When it was released, everybody went to see it.
I think Sonic was very good.
Spectacularly. Now, is it a great movie? No. Is it a good movie?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I tell you one thing, it does play on the heartstrings. I love that movie. I think it's very good. I think it's one of the best video game movies that they've made in a long, long time. And we've had Super Mario Bros. Before.
I will say there's there was two things that I wasn't a huge fan of the Sonic movie. Now, I did like it overall, and I thought it was a very good movie, but it was just more so distractions for me personally. The voice of Sonic wasn't Roger Craig Smith, who's been a fantastic actor for Sonic for the last number of years, and he's also been an actor for Batman. And if we remember correctly, he was Ezio Auditore da Firenze from the Assassin's Creed movies. He was fantastic. He wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think it kind of stuck out a little bit. I think the voice was a little bit, I wasn't a fan. And also James Marsden as the kind of buddy guy that's in it. He always makes me curious to see what the story is with him. He was Cyclops in X-Men, and then at the same time that they were having issues with Bryan Singer, and Bryan Singer was doing things that were illegal, particularly with underage individuals, allegedly, and I will say allegedly. And he was moved off the set then, basically, of X-Men, and he went to do Superman Returns, and James Marsden quit the job as Cyclops in X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men 3, to go work with Bryan Singer on Superman Returns. Now, James Marsden knew what Bryan Singer was up to. You know what I'm saying? And he followed him from one movie to another and relinquished the role of Cyclops. I mean, that says a lot, man. You know, so when he's in it, I was like, not that guy. You know what I mean?
I get you, but I have to be honest. I get where you're coming from with Sonic the Hedgehog's voice. I kind of,
I like the movie. I did like the movie.
Me when I was watching the movie, to be quite honest with you, but I get where you're coming from. If the guy is still alive that voices Sonic the Hedgehog, why not use him? You know what I mean? But I thought it was a good movie. It was a good little buddy movie. There was a good movie. End scene at the end is Jim Carrey I think was fantastic in it. I think it was a more toned down performance from him, and I think part two, because we've already seen a little teaser at the end of the first one. I think part two is going to be brilliant. I think it's going to be more about Jim Carrey, the second one, and obviously we've seen Tails show up as well, which was fucking fantastic. Listen, I know you have your issues with it, but for me personally, I can kind of overlook them a little bit and just go with this movie.
And
I think I
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think compared to Birds of Prey, let's be honest, if you had a choice, if you were on a deserted island and I said to you, there you go, there's a Blu-ray player, right? There's your TV, right? But you're only allowed one movie. You can have Birds of Prey or you can have Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's Sonic all day long, every day.
You'd sit there and watch Sonic the Hedgehog. You would. So, I mean, look, I get where you're coming from. I really do. But for me, none of those factors played into it when I watched the movie. Because, look, I was really excited about this. I remember when they showed the first bit of concept art and they got a lot of stick. And what made me say, okay, I'm going to support this movie and back it 100% is when they came out and they actually said, we got it wrong.
Yeah.
And we'll fix it. And they fixed it. And as far as I'm concerned, if a film company like that listens to its fans and listens to the concerns and then tries to make it right, I think the movie should be supported. And it was. And that was the thing. People, even if they weren't a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, they went and watched it anyway because they were the only people that have come out and actually said to us, okay, we're wrong, we'll sort it out, we'll listen to the fans. And these, let's be honest, over the last couple of years, have they ever been listening to fans? Look at the Star Wars universe, for example. Has Disney ever listened to the Star Wars fans? No. So, you know, for the fact that they did, I thought that was very good of them. And I support it. Someone did ask us what did we think of the Joker. I want to kind of stick with the Disney Plus stuff first and the Marvel stuff, but I will answer that real quickly. I thought the Joker movie was absolutely fantastic. For me,
Joker was wonderful.
I think that movie is just, look, I said this after the Joker movie. If DC go down this route with other characters that we don't really know about and do a different twist on them and do them as dark as that R-rated, I think they're onto something. You look at Deadpool, right? Mm-hmm. Deadpool went R-rated. If that hadn't went R-rated, that movie wouldn't be as popular as it is today. I don't care what anybody says. That movie had to be R-rated for it to work. And there are certain characters and villains within the DC universe that if they do shows, they should be R-rated But when they start, when they start doing the PG-13 with some of the shows we've seen, and someone says, "Well, I'm not watching this if it's not R-rated." I don't know which one it was. There was some show that they announced that it should be R-rated, but they're doing the PG-13 because it's on Disney Bleeding Plus, and that's the problem we're gonna have.
Right.
Some of these characters, right, that are going to be, especially in the Marvel universe that they've announced, some of these shows should be R-rated, but they're not going to be. They're going to be PG-13 because it's Disney fucking Plus. So people are, I know Disney have announced a kind of an app that you can use, that you can go and watch all of these R-rated stuff that they've done. But they need to be doing, it's Daredevil, that's the one. Daredevil, PG-13, that should be fucking R-rated. Daredevil.
I don't know. I think you see, I think you could get away with it. I think you could get away with a PG-13 Daredevil. I don't think it I don't think it necessarily has to be R-rated. And I'm saying that now as someone that's a huge fan of Daredevil. Yeah. I love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. I don't necessarily think that it has to be R-rated. I think that they can probably skirt the lines as well too. I mean, it is something that does benefit from an R rating, but I do think that if they're going to put him in the Marvel universe, like, I mean, let's be real, he's going to be associating with Spider-Man. Any character that's going to be associating with Spider-Man, they're probably not going to have an R rated. I mean, they're not going to involve the Berserker Wolverine that we all know in this universe either. I mean, he's going to be PG-13 at the very most. They are not going to do a Logan with that. It's impossible, I think. So I think, I can't see it. I can't see it if they decide to do it. Now, I think they missed a trick with this new phase of movies, and they didn't introduce any X-Men characters. And I think that is a massive mistake if they're holding on to the fact that they will have Fantastic Four in this slate, a slate of shit, in my opinion. I think you're going to be very, very worried as to the future of this company. I mean, Disney.
I actually wanted to bring up Fantastic Four. So again, for the third time now, they're rebooting this fucking franchise, right? So we had the early Fantastic Four movies, and then I think they recently rebooted them a few years back, and now we're getting them again. Now, for me, I've always found that the Fantastic Four has never really translated well on screen, whether in the two movies that they've done. Remember the updated version. Do you think, is this going to, now, I don't know, is this a show first? Is this going to be a show, Fantastic Four, or is it a movie? I just want to ask you, is it a movie or a show?
It's going to be a movie, it is, but it's going to be directed by John Watts.
We're going to get a third Fantastic Four movie, right? The other two were a disaster. Now, the reasons I think it's a disaster, because I don't think the characters are very good. I personally don't like any of those characters, right? You know, they should give up on the whole Fantastic Four. They've already tried it twice. You know, you had Jessica, what her face in the last
Jessica Alba.
Yeah, in the last one or whatever. Do you think it's time that they kind of look? They've tried twice. It's never really translated well on screen. Should they not go down? And I'm just saying this because I think this is the way they could actually do it. Do you not think they should do a feature film animation film instead? Because the live action one doesn't seem to translate well on screen. What do you think?
Well, you see, with the last couple of years as well, what they've done with the Fantastic Four, because they had lost the rights of it, I think the 20th Century Fox, they had decided to cancel most of the material that surrounded the Fantastic Four. They didn't promote them either in terms of animation for a large majority of the time, I don't think either. We're only recently seeing Marvel Legends figures as well too that are featuring these characters. We're going to get retro carded figures, for example. So they really stagnated the stories. What they tried to do is they tried to give less stories towards 20th Century Fox so that they would eventually run out of the stories and they would have to do something about it then, which was creatively write up something on their own. Now, what you're seeing on the screen here now that Noel is so gracefully showed is Christopher Hivju, who is Tormund in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He would be my choice for Dr. Doom. I'm seeing a lot of talk floating around of Giancarlo Esposito, Javier Bardem. I think you bring this guy in. He has an intense stare. He is European. He has that European accent. It's a weird accent. I think you could say that he's the king of Latveria. I think he's not a bad-looking man either when you look at him. So if you wanted to have him looking like this before you put on the mask, or if you permanently wanted to have the mask on, I mean, he has just a fantastic range with his eyes. I mean, he's very akin to Tom Hardy. Like, his eyes tell a lot story-wise, and I think that he would be an absolutely brilliant Dr. Doom. In terms of this series going forward, though, the man who was directing it, John Watts, was involved at the Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, that's a guy who's race changed a number of characters in that movie. Ned Leeds, MJ, Shocker, the Scorpion, for example, as well, too. That was only in the fourth swing that he took at the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Sony. So I'd be fairly curious and fairly worried about him changing some of the Fantastic Four. Look, we've had it before with a Black Johnny Storm that should have never have happened. I don't understand what the studio thought they were doing at the time. Johnny's always been a bright blonde white guy. Same with Sue. She's always been a white woman with blonde hair. Reed has always been the way he looks. And then you have Ben Grimm. If there's one member of the Fantastic Four that you could probably change, and I hate to change anybody, it's probably Ben Grimm. And I say that now with I don't want that to happen. But what I'm saying is that if they were going to change one, I think that's where Marvel are going to make that change. Yeah. Grimm, and particularly to get someone with a voice that would be able to do it. I do think Marvel will play on the fact with the Fantastic Four, if they try to do a modern interpretation of it, that these characters just got their powers. They will try to say, hey, look, what we're doing is we're reflecting New York. You're seeing that type of talk with them with the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and they'll do it with some of the Fantastic Four. They're like, look, we're trying to reflect New York and what New York looks like now. Here's a black Ben Grimm, and I think most people will go, well, okay, he doesn't look like that guy for most of the time. He's actually going to be an orange rock monster. So I think most people will probably be upset with it for a minute and then be like, oh, well, we'll just deal with it. I think that's the choice and the change that they'll make personally.
Yeah. I mean, look, again, I haven't never been a huge fan of the Fantastic Four franchise. So for me, whether it happens or not, I don't really, it doesn't really bother me. But I mean, they've already tried it twice, hasn't worked. I don't know why they keep going back to it because, I
think you get the right storyline with these guys, and see, the point of the Fantastic Four as well too is the Fantastic Four actually set up an awful lot cosmically, which Marvel want to go with. They wanted to explore more cosmic characters like of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. So the Fantastic Four are more of an olive branch to other characters than anything else, rather than just saying this is the Silver Surfer. They will lead it in. I have to say, I like the two original movies. Funny enough, I'm probably one of those weirdos that's like, I think the first two are actually okay. They're not great, but they're certainly all right. Bar the fart cloud that Galactus was, but I think the first movie done a decent job. I thought it done okay, barring some wooden acting and some poor acting. I think overall that I actually like that first movie personally. I think what's his name, Julian, he's from Nip Tuck. Can't think of his name now, but I think he made a decent Doctor Doom. He was vain and just nasty piece of work. But I think I like them now personally, but I can see a couple of people in the chat there saying finding hard to change that Ben Grimm is Jewish. Yeah, they just changed Moon Knight from a white man and fairly staunchly Jewish to Oscar Isaac. So I don't think if they're changing Moon Knight, they won't have a problem changing Ben Grimm, lads, unfortunately. I think Noel's gone, is he?
Oh, no, I didn't even realise I was actually talking. I didn't even realise I was bleeding muted there, but we got a foot from Nicola Cotton, which my wife told me to read out because a similar thing happened with the Scoob animated movie. They didn't use any of the existing voice cast, replaced all of them. Yeah, I mean, look, I haven't watched the new Scoob movie because
they replaced Matthew Lillard without his notification. They didn't tell him.
Well, you see, here's the thing that's going to really make you all laugh. But you remember the movies, the live action movies that they did, the two live action movies that they did? I actually love those two live action movies of fucking what you call it?
Scooby-Doo.
What?
The Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo. But what was it called? It was called what was the movie called again?
Monsters Unleashed, wasn't it?
Monsters Unleashed. I love, seriously, the first movie was great. Second one was a little bit because and they did have, but I will say they did have Mr. B and Ronan Atkinson in the second one. But the first one was very good, and I thought they got the cast spot on. I do love Sarah
very good.
Gellar myself. So it was nice to see her play. What's her
Velma was packing.
Yeah, she was as well. She was actually Yeah,
She was packing.
tell you, great movie, great. I love the Force One. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, and it reminds me because I love Scooby-Doo. I love the cartoons. I've always loved the cartoon, and to see a live action movie. I seriously, man, I spent when that came out. I remember when it came out on DVD. I must have watched it 3 or 4 times that day. I just love it so much. So there you go. Surprises all there, Scoob. But I haven't watched Scoob because when I seen it, I was looking at it, I was saying, but why are you going back to when you were younger? Nobody wants that shit. Like, nobody wants it. No, we don't want that. We don't want an origin story. I don't know if it ended up being an origin, but I don't want an origin story. Just continue the bleeding story on. You know?
Yeah. No, I think with the Marvel Cinematic, they'll probably do there's Velma.
Like that, she was brilliant in it though. They were all brilliant in it. I have to be honest, even what's his name? Prince Jr. I hate him, but what's his name? What's his name?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze. He's a bit of a nutball, but
he's a
nutball when he starts slagging Star Wars fans about not understanding Star Wars, the moron. But he was good in this movie as well. They were all very good. Even your guy that played fucking what's his name? Shaggy.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, I think his name is. Yeah. He was the guy that was actually voicing Shaggy for a while because Casey Kasem, who voiced Cliff Jumper in the Transformers, he died and they had the replacement then. But Matthew Lillard was voicing Shaggy for a number of years and then they just kind of ousted him without his knowledge. It was terrible stuff that happened. I think the only member of the cast that they retained was Frank Welker as Scooby-Doo. I think they changed everybody else. And Frank Welker was the voice of Freddy in the original cartoons. He also voiced Megatron and the Cave of Wonders in Aladdin. Like, Frank Welker is probably the greatest voice actor of all time. He's incredible.
Fantastic, man. I listened. Some people say they love the Force movie as well. Yeah, I mean, look,
I like it.
The movie was cracking. I mean, but yeah, I don't know how we kind of got off a bit. It's because of the super chat that we got. But going back to all of this nonsense with Marvel and Disney. Right, listen, we've kind of covered a little bit of Marvel, but let's go into the main shit show, which is the 10 Disney Plus shows. Actually, I'm going to get a screen. Hold on. Because they have a poster with all of the shows that they announced. So hold on. We'll throw them up on screen. Disney Plus show announcements. There we go. Hold on. I don't know whether I should see. This is the thing now. Should we? I don't even know if I should get Disney Plus. Because
I'm going to Tortuga. If you know what I'm saying.
I get you. Well, yeah. You can fill me in there on that one. But hold on. There was a poster, Disney Plus announcement. Hold on. I just want to get the poster up.
By the way, folks, if you haven't heard the song "The Lonely Island" with Michael Bolton, it's called Jack Sparrow. Give it a listen; it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, well, don't do what my wife tried to get me to do, and I still haven't. Right, so apparently, right, and this is a little bit off topic, but I have to bring this up because I'm an Irishman, right? I have to bring this up because not only am I an Irishman, I'm proud that Brits voted this song the best song, a Christmas song of all time. But the gobshite that is Bon Jovi has decided to do his own version of Fairy Tale.
Oh, no.
Moron can't even say Galway properly. Right? Now,
did you hear what Bon Jovi did recently as well too? He ousted Bono as a fraud.
Right? Even fucking Christy Moore. We have a fella over here called Christy Moore, and he does a horrible version of it. The original's the Pogues. And by the way, for all you snowflakes that are still trying to cancel the song, get obvious yourselves, yeah? You don't even actually know the meaning of the word. It's actually being explained, so go and check it out. So there you go. We've got Rangers of the New Republic. We've got the Star Wars, The Bad Batch. We've got Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've obviously got the Ahsoka show as well. Andor, Lando, Star Wars Visions, Rogue Squadron, and we've got the Acolyte, and we've got the Droid Story. Now, none of that. I'm just going to ask you out straight. Any of those pop out at you and say, "Okay, I'm willing to give a go."
The Kenobi, and that's about it. The rest of them are just like, not interested.
Right. Now,
Let's be honest.
If you were to take a guess, right, we'll sit here now and we'll try and make a prediction. Out of all of these, which ones do you think will be a success?
I actually think because it's under so much scrutiny at the moment, particularly with who's running it and with the way they're thinking about it at the moment, I think, funnily enough, and it's the one that I've no interest now at the moment, I think the surprise hit is probably going to be the Acolyte. I think that they realise that the Leslie Headland person who's heading it is an absolute whack job. I think they understand that. I think they will try to keep her reined in, although I'm saying that this is coming from the same guy that doesn't like Dave Filoni, and Dave Filoni's fingerprints are all over everything that's here. I think that could be the sleeper hit in this thing. I mean, Rogue Squadron, what's the point in that? We've just had a video game of a dogfighting sort of system. Who cares? You know, they introduced this pronoun nonsense, this new speak into the Rogue Squadron's game. So not interested in that. Lando, I mean, the demasculation of black men in Hollywood is just very apparent to see. They will not use likes of Mace Windu. I think that would have been a better character to give his own series. I think a lot of people would have been very happy to see that. And you would have Sam Jackson playing that part then. Instead, now they're going to either use the Solo version of Lando or the Rise of Skywalker version of Lando. A character that's broken now. It's like a broken toy. He was a suave, cool character. What is he now? He's a guy that likes to, you know, have relations with toasters and stuff, you know. So, like, what's the point? Andor is a character that nobody remembers. I doubt you probably even remember him.
I forget.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's a character. What was the point in that series? Visions, no point in that. If that was just an anime series that was going to base itself off on, I don't know, Jedi thousands of years ago, I'd have been all for it. Or Jedi thousands in the years in the future. Cool. That would have been good. No. Instead, they're going to give loads of different people, different chefs into the same kitchen, which is going to be a cluster. And then you have a droid story. Zero interest in that as well too. So to me, like, Kenobi looks like it could be the one. But I do think the Rangers of the New Republic could possibly be something that could be interesting. But we did hear Dave Filoni recently said that the Mandalorian is going to link into the sequel trilogy and the starting up of the First Order. So to me, they're not learning from the mistakes. Instead, they're going to repeat them, and they're going to repeat them again with Ahsoka.
Well, here's the thing, though. If they do what you say, and they do make the same mistakes again, right? Well, then it is over for them, right? So, like, you know, this is why I keep saying to you, I honestly believe, right? Even if you're not happy with any of these shows right now, if they take their time on them, right, and they actually, you know. Do them justice. I
don't think they will. I think they're going to justice.
Then you have a chance. But again, I can understand your skepticism. No, I got it. I got it. Actually, I got it. I do. But look, we'll have to see which show. Ahsoka, I think, is the first one that's going to be released, isn't it? Or is it Obi-Wan? I don't know which one it is, but it's one of those two. They're going to be the very first ones released. We'll have to see. I know you're not going to watch Ahsoka anyway. There's no point in me even asking you about that because you clearly don't love that character. You don't like acting about because she breaks canon. That's fair enough. Yeah. I'm not going to question you on that one. But is there any other show there that they've announced there? Right, Rogue Squadron. How do you think that'll do?
We just basically had a video game of it, so you know it's coming from Patty Jenkins, who is an anti-capitalist and Orange Man bad, you know, nut job, and. You know, again, same thing. Like, once she said that horror movie for Wonder Woman 1984 was anti-capitalist, it was like, okay, strange thing to say. You've just gotten 10 million in your pocket, but this movie's an anti-capitalist movie. Very weird.
Well, we'll see. Right, we won't ask you about Ahsoka. Where about Rangers of the New Republic?
That's something I'm curious about. I think if that's the show that's led by Gina Carano, which I hope it will be, I think that would be one to tune into. I think that would be top stuff. I think she's, you know, she's probably the most popular person in the fandom at the moment. She's probably the most popular person in terms of going forward.
It's not probably. She is. She is the most popular. Yeah. Every time she's on Twitter, Anytime she says that, I'm telling you, fans are 100% behind her. But I wanted to ask you something, because there is a rumor floating out there that if Gina Carano actually apologizes for her tweets, that she would get her own show. Now, how do you feel about that? Now, look, it looks like she hasn't, and it doesn't look like she will, because, and I even wrote to her and I said, listen, you never ever back down on your convictions. You never ever back down on your opinions. If people have a problem with them, that's their problem, not yours. But I wouldn't be apologizing just to get a TV show. So please don't apologize. I says, look at it this way. Fans will make sure that you get your TV show, because she is that popular. You're right.
You can't get her action figure
within the show, bar Baby Yoda. Right?
Yeah, you can't get her action figure now. Like, it's impossible. I can't get a figure of Cara Dune. We can't.
It's sold out.
It's sold out. You can't get it. She's very, very well, I suppose, liked, because you can't get the figure.
She is loved. That's the thing. You know? And if Disney, and if she is in this Rangers of the New Republic, and this is and they're not giving her a Gina Carano show itself, but she is part of this show, I'd watch it, because I think it's brilliant. I mean, even we watched the latest Mandalorian episode last night, and she features very heavily in it as well. And anytime she's on screen, I just love her as a character now, I have to be honest. And let's be honest.
I'm a big fan. She's wonderful looking.
But she's brilliant. I think she's brilliant. She kicked ass in the start of the bleeding episode. Brilliant, man. I love her. Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Now, I want to ask you, because I'm not traditionally a star. What is the Bad Batch?
So the Bad Batch is something that harkens back to part of the Clone Wars. There's what's called a defective clone. It was Clone 99. So in season 7 of the Clone Wars, which further breaks even more canon for Star Wars. So good job, Dave Filoni. He introduces a squad of 4 clones that have superpowers. Now, this is something that we haven't seen before in the Star Wars universe in terms of superpowered clones from the canon that's currently there. Instead, now we have 4 superpowered clones. So, in my estimation, if they decide to stay with the Republic, or I should say the Empire, or if they start to go with the Rebellion, why is there an issue with either of those sides? If these superpowered clones that can go around and do anything are knocking about, why is there even a rebellion? Why is there even an empire? Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, again, it was a cool idea, but it depends on how they write this one. But I can just see them mucking around in an awful lot with this one. I think that they should have went the route of just having a stormtrooper show, following a stormtrooper that was just the bad guy, and showing the various missions that they go on. I think that would have been a better use of their time.
Right, we'll leave Obi-Wan for a minute. Andor, you obviously you've spoke briefly about Andor. So again, this is another a character. Is it a character yet that I don't know anything about? Is it? Yeah,
it's a character that was in Rogue One who's now dead. I mean, this is like a Black Widow, sort of idea. The character is long dead by now. People probably won't remember who he is. So doing a show based on him seems like a strange idea. It's very, very weird.
Right.
There was more popular characters, more likable characters, even in, like, if you were going to do a TV series on anybody based from Rogue One, it was the Donnie Yen character of Chirrut Imwe, where he's this kind of force-using, possibly blind monk of a character, and Baez as well too. I would have done a show with them too. That'd have been interesting. Do you know what I mean? But I don't get where they're going with this one. That seems mad.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Right. So the one actually, the droid story. Is that going to be about the 2 droids that we've seen throughout? Is it about those 2 idiots? Because if it is, right. Well, I'm not interested.
It's R2D2 and C3PO. Right. And order droids and go on stories. I'm like, who is that for? Like, who goes into Star Wars liking for the droids? I mean, who does?
Look, I know they're popular. They are popular, but let's be honest. Are they that popular to get their own show? I don't think so.
I'm sure Anthony Daniels is very happy though. I'm sure he's rubbing his grubby little mitts there now, thinking I'm back again.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's been a lot said about him, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a strange man.
So Lando to you is going to be a complete shit show.
Oh, that's a woke fest, man, waiting to happen. I mean, she announced as well too in the stream. She was just like, it's going to be written and created by the creator of Dear White People. And I was like, done. It's over already. It's before the horse has even left the gate. It's finished.
They just can't keep their mouths closed, though. Even if they're going to put all of this agenda into the Star Wars universe, you think they'd be clever enough, to kind of keep their mouth shut. Just release shows, put a season out like what Westworld did, trick their fans, give them a good season, is it right? And then do the woke. But Disney don't even do that. They're straight out of the fucking out of the horse's fucking trap, and they're just like, yeah, look, for bleeding, get away. Right, because I want to hear a rant. I'm only messing, but I do want to ask you about Ahsoka.
Right, well, you're kind of going to get around. She's the worst character imaginable. She is a very cardboard cut-out type of character. She's played by an even cardboard cut-out of an actress. I can see Teddy's is saying there that she's not a fan of Gina Carano. Well, I will raise you over Rosario Dawson and say that she is far more a worse actress. The action skills that she possesses is nil. The action that was shown with the Ahsoka character was terrible in the episode that she featured in. I also, like I said, it's a character that breaks canon. They invented time travel in the Star Wars universe to save that character. It's a pet character, Filoni. It's a Mary Sue character. It's a character that just doesn't seem to die. She was able to face... Now, I mean, for people that are in the chat there as well, too, that are saying there's no problem with this character. Well, she was able to face Darth Maul, okay, who killed Qui-Gon Jinn, a Jedi Knight, who was trained by Emperor Palpatine, and then she was able to face Darth Vader in a lightsaber combat duel and actually stand toe-to-toe with Vader. But she struggled against an old lady with a pole who wasn't a Force sensitive. That is Dave Filoni in a fucking nutshell. The man is a moron. He doesn't know what he's doing. He hypes up this Mary Sue of a character. This character is worse than Rey. It's Rey 2.0, in my opinion. And I think that if that is the future of Star Wars, it's in severe trouble. I have talked to you and even said on this channel, it takes one bump in the road for the wheels to come off this Disney vehicle. Well, they've introduced 10 bumps in the road, and this franchise is fucked. And I have to say, it really is.
Here, but going back to Ahsoka, but this is set a few years after, isn't it? The whole...
This is going to try and introduce Grand Admiral Thrawn back into the mythos. Now, he was also in Star Wars Rebels. This is a character that was pulled from the expanded universe, an incredibly intelligent individual that was running the show for the Empire basically after the Empire had fallen. Right. And they are going to bastardize this guy. Now, I mean, they bastardized him in Rebels. They made him look like a buffoon for most part in that. He was fairly intentful when he was forced to introduce, but then as it went on, he looked like an absolute tit. So to me, like it's going to be again another character that's going to be bastardized for Disney, and that's what they're going to do.
Right. Well, listen, we could we'll stop with the Disney. We'll stop with the Star Wars stuff now because you know what, we could sit here all night. Right. Let's concentrate a little bit on the Marvel stuff, and Indiana Jones as well was announced. Indiana Jones bloody movie. I don't know what Harrison.
Willow as well too.
But again, Willow is coming out now. That is a movie that I did love. I'm glad that they've actually gotten Warwick Davis to come back for it. But again, this when it's got Disney's name on it nowadays, you just don't know what you're gonna see. This is the thing I think it is with fans. You just don't know what you're gonna get with Disney right now.
And Warwick Davis will literally be in anything. So if the quality of it is even shit, he's going to be like, yeah, that's not a problem. I'll be in that. I mean, I won't be surprised if we see another, I won't be surprised if he hands over and is like, well, I'm not the chosen one. It's this other, character with these number of letters attached to it and this colored character or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they alter it heavily to something that's not,
Well, we'll have to see because Warwick Davis hasn't done much work. He did some stuff with Ricky Gervais a few years back, but he hasn't been actually.
Apparently, he's a fucking arsehole as well too. In reality,
I think if they come to him and say, "Listen, we have an idea for a show," I think he's going to grab it with two hands.
I have
a character that he does love because he's always said that Willow. That was the movie that kind of that was the movie that gave him his break actually. believe it or not.
Yeah, PD Rich brings up a good idea. Willow with 6 foot characters. Yeah, if they introduced a 6 foot savior or something for Willow, that'd be a bit of crack. I think that'd be funny. That'd be a bit of a laugh. But apparently, from someone fairly reputable that I know, they said that Warwick Davis, how he behaves on that Ricky Gervais shows, is fucking scarily accurate to how he actually behaves.
Right. You know what? We'll move away from all of that now for a while, right? Because there's a couple of things that happened recently. I want to ask you about the Tom Cruise business, because someone brought it up in the chat earlier. So an audio, 3 minute and 20 odd second audio has been released of Tom Cruise absolutely going nuclear on the cast and crew, the crew of his latest movie, Mission Impossible 7. Now, I've listened to the audio. Now, I will say this. It's been a mixed reaction, but in saying that, there is a lot of people that think he's right in what he did, because he's put a lot of personal financial into it to make sure that this movie goes ahead, that people can work. But I did listen to Az's video before it came on, and he was saying, you can hear that you could hear that there seems to be pressure, but he was kind of making the point that, well, maybe you could see that there was a bit of an ego there. I wanted to ask you, what have you heard the Tom Cruise rant?
Yeah.
And if you did, do you agree with him or do you disagree with him? Now, I'll tell you how I feel. When I
Go
heard
ahead, tell me.
I said fair play to him. I said, this is a man, look, he rented out a fucking cruise ship to make sure that the crew was isolated. They have particular rules in place. And he did make the point that, we're not shutting this movie down because, people lose their homes and all of this. It did sound like a very passionate play. And for me, what I got from it is that this is a guy, you could tell that the weight of the world is actually on his shoulders, that he does really care genuinely about the small guy and small lady that's in this, that's working on this movie with him, because he knows that people are losing their homes left, right, and center, and the industry, because he basically says that the industry is on its knees. He basically flipped. What did you think of his rant?
Yeah, I'm very much so in agreement with you. I from listening to it, there's a couple of key things that he says, and like you said there, he's talking about the industry being on its knees, and it's also there's an issue then of people then keeping their homes and stuff, and that is an important thing that you do see the good side of him, the positive side of him as well too, that you can see from that. But I think when you hear some of the little snippets of what he says in terms of, I've producers from different companies and I've different companies calling me every night. It sounds like a man under pressure. And to me, if the biggest actor in the world, the most well-known actor in the world is feeling pressure like that, it says a lot about the industry in terms of it's in big trouble.
Yeah.
It's in a precarious nature. I also think then as well, obviously they're going along with all these mandated stuff as well too. Whether, you buy into it or whether you don't, I suppose is up to you. And that'd be kind of the way I'd look at it. But I will say that he does, in the rant, obviously is showing care to people and not wanting people to be, shut down so that it doesn't end up being cancelled or whatever. And I think he is right on that point. I've seen other people that have criticised it in the sense of maybe he should have done it in private. I don't think so. I just think it's a man that's under severe pressure and he obviously just lost it. I don't think it's wrong that he got upset.
Someone say that he should have done it in private. Here's the thing, right? He was on a close set with his cast and crew, right? If someone from that cast and crew obviously took out their phone and took an audio of that, well, they've already breached confidentiality. And to be honest with you, since this has come out, if Tom Cruise finds out who it is and he ends up sacking them, I have no problem with that. What goes on a movie set should stay on a fucking movie set. Anyway, we shouldn't even got this leaked audio like we did with the Christian Bale audio. Well, listen, I did read an article. Someone in a couple of weeks' time, right? I'm surprised someone hasn't done it right now. But apparently what someone's going to do is they're going to get the Christian Bale audio, they're going to get the Tom Cruise audio, they're going to splice them together, and it's called Christian Bale Gives Out to Tom Cruise. right?
I don't see anything wrong with that, because look, he is a testosterone driven fella, and I mean, you only have to look at some of the stunts that he's been doing. I mean, people that think that him shouting at somebody is a negative thing, I mean, are they well? I mean, there was a time when people would have just taken a verbal lashing and that would have been it. I mean, it's not like he's gone and battered anybody or anything like that. You know, he's just told them how he feels, and he's also. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that whatsoever. In a world that we're in now, that's saying to men to open up and be more open with how they're thinking. I think he was very, even in the anger that he was in, he was very articulate. And I think,
and he actually made the point as well. He actually made the point was, right, if I don't understand your truth, if I don't understand your logic, you're gone.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, even after saying that, he was basically saying, well, if you don't wear the mask, but if you come to me and tell me the reason why, but if I don't believe it or I think it's bullshit, you're gone, basically. And that's the way it should be. Listen, they all knew when they took this job that there was going to be rules and regulations put in place, right? If anybody flogged those rules, as far as I'm concerned, right, if he's put his own personal money into it, which he has, to guarantee that this movie was being made. That's what I mean. He did everything in his power to try and make this movie happen. And if you've got two dickheads that are not actually following protocol, because last week, it only come to light, actually, that last week 10 extras or whatever ended up testing positive. So he made sure then that he put these things in place to make sure that this movie wouldn't be stopped, because he doesn't want, because you could hear it. Look at it, I'm not Tom Cruise, right? As did say one thing. Tom Cruise is a crazy motherfucker. We know that. With the Scientology rub, and his behavior over the years has been kind of erratic, right? But this, I never got behind someone so much when I heard that audio. He was spot on, and you could definitely hear, and I'm gonna say it, this guy cares. You can tell that he cares. Yeah. And you know what? Because of that, I'm going to look. I haven't seen Mission Impossible since the third one. I'm going to go back and watch the rest of them now, right? And I'll watch them.
I like them,
because I'll tell you why. That's a guy. You could tell that he clearly cares about people, no matter what people say about him, right? He cares about people. He cares about the small guy. You can tell that he's under pressure. Yeah, he put all of these things in place, and then you get two dickheads breaking the rules. I tell you, I would have went off.
Listen, I'll give a quick story on Tom Cruise. I seen Tom Cruise in person. I seen him at a premiere I did, and I witnessed Tom Cruise darting towards a pregnant woman. And he darted towards her because what happened was, because he was Tom Cruise and because of the people that were there to see him as well too, got obviously overexcited and started to crowd together and push a pregnant woman against the fence. He darted over and stopped the crowd and said, back up, she's pregnant, back up, she's pregnant. He said it to various people, and they all complied. So that is a man that took his time out of hundreds of people that were there at that moment in time to look around, assess the situation and say, something's going on there. She looks uncomfortable, spotted she was pregnant, went over and halted what was going on. So to me, that's something I always remember about Tom Cruise when I seen him. And I have to say, it's something that stuck with me. And it stuck with me that he took his time from signing autographs and doing whatever he was doing, promoting a movie, to smile and wave around, to spot that instance of that happening. And then he moved and done something about it. He is one of the last of the Hollywood, I suppose, alphas. I mean, it's no surprise when you look at the trailer for Maverick. I think the Maverick trailer, it's very reminiscent of what's going on in Hollywood. This old, he's been called old tech. He's been called obsolete. You're seeing an obsolescence of these type of guys now. You're seeing little pandery wusses like Harry Styles coming around, and that's your new age Hollywood star, you know what I'm saying?
No, give me a Tom Cruise, or give me a fucking Mel Gibson, or give me a bloody Bruce fucking, what's his name? Bruce Willis, right? Give me one of those old stars, because they are real movie stars. And I think Tom Cruise is a dying breed, and it is sad because, it's these are the look. There's nothing wrong with masculine roles. There's nothing wrong with these type of movies. Do your female-led shit as well. Like you can cater to everybody if you really had the will to do it. Listen, he's Scientology shit. Yeah, he's a weirdo. I really do think he's a weirdo. But this, I have to back him because he's absolutely spot on. Listen, I know there are people in America, especially. We were having this discussion. I was having this discussion with Sharon. Someone wrote up the best comment, I think, on Twitter about this. Trying to get people to wear a mask in America is mission impossible. I thought that was brilliant. But that's true. Because, I don't know what it is with Americans. I said to the wife, if Biden comes out in January and tells everybody not to wear masks, everybody will wear masks, because then they'll be like, well, why is he telling us not to wear masks? So they must want to try kill us or something. So they do the opposite of what anybody would say. But look, I agree with him. I thought he was spot on, and fair play to him. And I just hope, but someone did make the point. Where's the director? Where's the director? Right? Where's the producer? Right? Well, he was one of the producers, but where's the director? He's the one that's supposed to get the cast and crew in line anyway. It wasn't Tom Cruise's job to do.
I think he exerts so much power though that I think the director is only there in name only. I think Tom runs what's going. I think he runs what's going on. It's like The Rock. I think The Rock is mounting out from about the casting decisions for Black Adam, and he's not directing it. You know what I mean? Like, once you become such a star power in terms of that, I mean, that is old school Hollywood in a way, where you had the star of the show and they would nearly deem who was going to be in the other roles. I mean, you heard about all of these stories, you know what I mean? You heard about, for example, we were only talking about that recently in terms of the likes of The Fifth Element and that, you know what I mean? Like the dictation that was going on there from certain individuals, the likes of James Caan for Elf as well too, like would come in and dictate some stuff as well. Like that happens with these kind of more old school actors. But I think Tom is in the right. He is. Whether I think people agree with what's going on at this moment in time, it's up to them. But I think what he is trying to do is, I think he is trying to say, look, the people that are around here, like, we're responsible, even if you agree or disagree with what's happening at the moment, just carry on with what's going on, get this thing done, and then do whatever you're doing in your own time. You know what I mean? So I think he's aware of that. He's aware of all the oils that are on these sets. He's aware that it's not just, people that are working there. There's obviously someone there that's seen him wound up and decided to hit the record button. So whether this was a pre-planned situation, because they've caught him pretty spot on in the middle of the rant, not even the middle, but probably the beginning of it. Seems kind of interesting. But this isn't the first time or last time you're going to hear someone lose it, particularly in Hollywood. And to me, it spells out that there's an awful lot of pressure on him, and an awful lot of pressure on the industry, because I think, if anything, we've learned over the last couple of months, whether it be your channel, whether it be Gary's channel, whether it be anybody else's channel, that we can entertain ourselves and we have just as good talks and discussions and people interacting with us than they have in the movie industry now anymore. And I mean, we've all learned that the likes of the adult pretenders are not essential. Sorry, Lee, but I think we've all gotten around to the fact of, well, we can entertain ourselves, and the likes of, like, for example, when Lee comes on, he's fantastic as well too to listen to, and very entertaining, of course. But I think Hollywood has had a meltdown over the last couple of months, and they do realize that the people, the plebs, as they probably see us, don't care, and we're just like, right, let's see what's going. And whenever it comes out, like, look at the lukewarm response to, like, pushbacks and to, like, stuff going to streaming services. Nobody's jumping up and down. I've only seen people being upset with Godzilla and Kong. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman 1984. It is getting a limited release in some cinemas around the world, because there has been ads for it on Irish TV here. I think they're actually showing it here, Wonder Woman 1984. I
have it on good authority that Cineworld is gone and won't be coming back.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the biggest fucking movie franchise that we have here is Cineworld.
I have it on very good authority. I'm obviously not going to divulge too much, because I don't want them to get into trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your sources to yourself. Yeah, that's what you do. But
I'm not going to divulge too much. But there has been people that have lost jobs. Put it that way. So that to me is.
That's a disaster there is for the Irish film industry. That's going to be a big fucking knock. That's going to have a knock-on effect now. Holy shit, because that is the biggest cinema brand that we have here, Cineworld. They took over from, originally it was, who was it? Because the Paranormal one was taken over. That it became Cineworld, but it was
That's right, yeah. I can't remember what it was now, yeah.
Great.
Now, Cheryl will know as well too, but AMC, who owns Cineworld, are also in trouble. I
look, it's streaming. obviously the way they're doing it now, I think that is the future. I'd like them to look. I think this is an opportunity though for the film industry. Bring back the old style cinemas. Don't have the big major fucking cinemas with 12 screens in it. Build the cinemas with 2 or 3 screens like they used to do in the old days. Because remember, here in Ireland we had 2. We had the one on Harold's Cross, which unfortunately they ended up knocking down, and then you had the one in Rathmines, and I think the one in Rathmines has opened up again, and you can go in and it's a 2-movie cinema screen, and it's got the old popcorn machine and stuff. You can help yourself, and you get escorted to your seat and all. That's the kind of experience I want. Because me and you would agree. I hate going to cinema now because you always get some guy. Right? If you're going to watch a movie in the cinema, keep your mouth fucking shut. I don't want to hear you screaming. I don't get screaming at Star Wars when those movies were out and I've seen the reactions. Fans screaming, crying and all of this. I was like, will you just leave a fucking out trying to watch a bleeding movie? Like, know what I mean? Do that at home. When you go to, I'll pay $9.70 for a fucking ticket, or €12 now here for a bleeding ticket to go and see this movie. I didn't come to hear fucking people laugh, scream and cry and all of this rubbish. I came to watch a movie. I hate that. Listen, you take over for a few minutes, will you? I just have to pop downstairs real quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. Let me see if we can cue something up there to talk about.
Yeah. If you want to share that on the screen before I go.
I'm trying to get something up now at the moment.
Right. You get that, and I'll share it, and then you can talk. Just give me 5 minutes. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So here we are now. Okay, right. So I think something that's been kind of on the mind of myself anyway over the last couple of days has been the alteration again of another red-haired character. Cyclone has been announced in the new Black Adam movie. Now, the Black Adam movie has had its fair share of problems going forward because of The Rock and the way he's decided to handle the situation. Again, like I was just saying there, Tano, he seems to be a guy that has complete control over what's going on. Now, with the 7 Books production company that he obviously has a very big sway and say in the production of this movie. And he's decided now he's going to change Cyclone. He's already changed what Hawkman looks like as well too, radically so. And he's decided now that the person that's going to be playing Cyclone is part of the pronoun gang. So this is the precarious nature that Hollywood is in at the moment, and they're still going to play this absolute nonsense that we've been seeing happen the last couple of years. In other news, obviously, we have Charlize Theron, who has had many a failure now behind her in terms of The Old Guard and other types of movies that people weren't interested in, Atomic Blonde and the Furiosa prequel series or prequel movie that seems to be going ahead even though nobody wants it. They all showed up from Mad Max. But she has decided to interject her way now into Die Hard and wants to have a lesbian version of Die Hard. So this is the cinema industry and the theatre industry at the moment. It's no wonder that Tom Cruise is under the pressure that he's under. Films and studios have been hemorrhaging money for the last number of years. They're going to continue to hemorrhage money with some of the releases they have planned. In the last 18 months particularly, I would have imagined that Hollywood would have looked at the situation and the landscape, and particularly within the last year, and would have said some of these ideas that we have going forward are a bad idea. But they've decided not to course correct. Disney should have course corrected, particularly with Marvel and with Star Wars. They should have looked at these situations and said, is that something that's going to cause a financial loss? Possibly. Well, exit. We don't want Cassian Andor. We don't want Lando. We don't want the droid story. Okay, maybe it's animated and maybe that's a better use of our time. But I think when you're looking at the situation, like I was just saying now there, the changing of Cyclone and various other red-haired characters, it's not just one, it's becoming a very prevalent and obvious thing that we're seeing. It's 25 plus characters now that have been radically altered.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to the Cyclone thing because I know Random Mecha on Twitter was getting a lot of stick.
Yeah.
Because she pointed out the fact that they've changed the character. Sorry, I'm out of breath there.
I'm just going to say there, you sound like you're out of being on a marathon there.
I ran down the stairs. I ran back up, but I'm all right. Yeah, I mean, look, we see it all the time. I mean, this is non-related, but I mean, when you see Channel 5 doing a historical about Ant-Man, and then they race swap that role for no reason, even though it goes against history, then you know you have a problem. They're trying to change history. They're trying to change these characters. We've seen it a lot now. And it's not going to stop any. Look, we as the consumer need to keep sending them the message. This is why you don't support these shows. And you know,
you don't buy
Mecca got because she said that this, you know, it's redheads are being discriminated against. Now, do I believe redheads are being discriminated against? I would have to say, yeah. I mean, you don't see many. Let's be honest, you don't see many redheads in Hollywood nowadays. I mean, really,
look at the absolute reeing that we had seen when they announced Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis for the Jedi Fallen Order game because he's a white man with red hair. They screeched about him for a very long time, and said he was boring and uninteresting. I mean, like I said, how many redheads are running around in Hollywood now at the moment and are having prevalent roles?
There's only 2% of the world's population that's redheaded anyway. So,
look, there's Bryce Dallas Howard probably and Jessica Chastain are the only ones that are doing the roles at the moment. But look, that's a person that looks radically different from this, and this is what I'm talking about. I mean, I wouldn't accept this if they decided to change how T'Challa looks. If T'Challa, the Black Panther, looked like a white guy, I'd be absolutely pissed off because I'd be like, that doesn't look like what the character looks like. I'm not interested in that. If they had, say, for example, the likes of, Cyborg, if they decided to change him into a white woman, I mean, it's not what the character looks like. And I mean, this is the same idea here. You're radically changing a person who also falls under this pronoun gang of she's called they, which is absolute fucking nonsense, in my opinion. And then you have a character here, Cyclone, that they've radically altered. And I mean, what was the point? Why not just, there's a character called Bumblebee that's in the DC universe. She looks a little bit more like her. Or Vixen. Why don't you put her in as that character? Why are you introducing this character and altering this? It's another attack on redheads. We're seeing it with April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We've seen it with some of the characters in The Witcher. We've seen it with Mary Jane Watson now. We've seen it with a number of other characters like of Wally West and Iris West from The Flash. I mean, this isn't just one or two instances. This is many instances of this stuff happening.
So, So would you actually say that Hollywood does have a prejudice against people with red hair? Because this picture, you can clearly see that this woman looks nothing like the Cyclone character here on the right.
Looks nothing like her. And what's interesting there, seeing Vanessa Lauder has said in the chat there, Karen Gillian. Yeah, the last time they had Karen Gillian in a mainstream role was as Nebula, and they shaved her head. So doesn't really count, does it?
He's got a point there.
You know what I mean?
She was blue and she was bald.
Yeah.
It's you know what though? I mean, it's ridiculous that they're doing this. I mean, I'm just having to get into the picture. The first picture that's being released of BBC's Anne Boleyn, or channel whatever, Anne Boleyn, and your woman Anne Boleyn, she has this smug smile on her face.
Look there, we have a look at and have a look.
I'm sorry, love, but whether you like her or not, Anne Boleyn was white. And just because BBC or Channel 5 decide that they're going to race swap it doesn't mean that we should be on board with it. I'm not on board with it. Anne Boleyn was white. And if you have a problem with that, you snowflakes, well, basically kiss me ass. Right? And it's not racist. I'm not being racist here. Right? You cannot change history on a whim because you feel like changing it because you want more diversity. If you want more diversity, then you do it. But you don't start messing around with history. What are you going to do next? Are you going to get Henry VIII to be played by a transgender man next or something? Because this is how ridiculous it's getting. By the way, I did see something very interesting. Can anybody explain to me what gay face is? Because James Corden has been accused of gay face.
He does look gay though.
No, but I mean, what is this rubbish? I mean, what is gay face? Can anybody out there, all terms, can tell me what the feck is gay face? Because I'm confused here.
Just as an aside, I want to see Daniel Day-Lewis play Nelson Mandela. I think it's only fair. If you're going to change If you're gonna change Anne Boleyn, let's have Daniel Day-Lewis.
It would be fucking Daniel Day-Lewis, wouldn't it?
At least he's a good actor.
It's just getting so ridiculous at this stage. I mean, come on. You're even messing with history now. Leave it out, folks. You want our diversity, fine. You want our inclusion, fine. Go and create new stuff. Don't be trying to change history. Anne Boleyn was not black. Jesus Christ.
But see, this is the narrative of the SJW. I mean, what a perfect response for it and what they've done with Star-Lord recently in the comic book.
Oh, yeah.
They decided now to change his sexuality and orientation, and what they've decided to do now is to try and erase that kind of idea that he is, a masculine straight guy, and they tried to change it now just to get at Chris Pratt. That is literally it. Some freaks at Marvel decided this is a good idea.
But there she is. There's little smug Anne Boleyn there. You can see how smug she is because she knows she shouldn't be playing the role. And I don't mean to be weird, but she knows she shouldn't be playing that role, and she's delighted to be there. How
could you even accept the gig? I mean, holy shit.
That's what I mean. I don't get it. I really don't. But there you go. Right, that's your new Anne Boleyn. Right? Now, just for anybody that doesn't know, which I'd be surprised if you didn't, but I'll show you what Anne Boleyn actually looked like. Right, because we do have actually portraits of Anne Boleyn, because Henry Holbein was his artist, and he he got Anne Boleyn painted a few times, and this is what Anne Boleyn should really look like, folks. Right, so you're gonna love this. Watch. So for anybody that doesn't know, I'd be surprised if you didn't, but there you go. Some people are unfortunately don't. So there's Anne Boleyn, right? That's what she looks like. Now, does your woman look at and like her? No, right?
Maybe
the Tudors. So that's who they got the player in the Tudors, Natalie Dormer, whatever her name is. Yeah, gorgeous, right? Absolutely. If you haven't watched the Tudors, go and check it out. She plays a deadly Anne Boleyn. But that's what Anne Boleyn, right? They even got the hair kind of spot on. That's what Anne Boleyn should look like, right?
Maybe she was just doing whiteface for the day, the way like they do blackface. Maybe she was just doing whiteface for the day.
You know what? This is the kind of excuses that these morons.
Joke, by the way.
Well, I know you're joking, but this is the kind of excuse these morons would. Well, how do you know she's actually?
Or the portraits just say.
They could be lying to us. They probably they didn't want us to know that she's black because they're trying to whitewash history. Because that's all you get as well, all of this crap, all the whitewash history. Feck off. Anne Boleyn was white, and if you have a problem with that, you snowflakes, go and kiss my arse.
They said the same about the likes of the Egyptians as well too. Well, the Egyptians were all black. Well, the fucking pictures on the wall say otherwise, buddy. You know what I mean? I don't think
they had sallow skin, yes, but they weren't black. Oh my God, they need to stop. Right, I want to get on to something a bit funny.
Go on.
Right. So Jake Paul, for anybody that doesn't know who Jake Paul is a YouTube personality that he's made it big on YouTube, let's just say, but he's a bit of a godshite, right? He's to be honest, when I seen this video yesterday, the first thought that came into my head was, well, Connor, you sit down and let someone else actually take him on. I'll take him on because he's a moron. Right? So he did it. He put out a video on Twitter, and he calls Conor McGregor out. Now, I think I can play this. So I'm going to play it because the reason why I'm going to play it because I have a few issues with it. Right, number one, you can clearly see that the reason he says the things that he's saying is because he wants to get Conor McGregor's attention. But
McGregor looks
was the fact that he had a tricolour in his hand and the way he was holding it. I even said, when I watched the video, I even said to my wife, "Oh, geez, I want to bleed. I'll fight him. I'll fight him." Like, he goes, he's 2-0, right? He's 2-0. He's fought amateurs, this fella. Right?
Did you see the interview between him and that lady? And she said to him, "Do you think knocking out a black man is racist?" She actually said that to him. And he was just like, "What are you talking about? Like, it's a fight. That's what happens in fight."
At the end of the day, yeah, I think he's a dickhead. But No,
him and his brother.
Of course, it's not fucking racist. He's bleeding morons. He fucking boxing.
Sick of fucking your wife.
Hold on, here we go.
Do a lot better, but happy Monday.
Right, so here it is. Right, he starts slagging. Conor McGregor's missus, which I know her. Used to hang around with her back in the day.
No.
Yeah, man, she lived in Crumlin for fuck's sake. I lived in Crumlin, so we're neighbours. Because he was always either into the boxing or the cage fighting. So
yeah,
what you call it? Yeah, man, we used to drink house parties and all, man. Fucking great.
It's a small world, isn't it?
That's what I mean. It's brilliant. But here's his video. Now, right, you hear this, right? I don't know who the fuck he thinks he is anyway. He looks like a clown in this video. He has a big fat cigar, and there's the tricolour, and he fucking annoys me. But wait till you see this. 7 million views, by the way, this video has gotten.
What the fuck is up, you Irish cunt? Good morning, Conor McGregor. I know you're probably beating up old dudes in a bar right now, or maybe you're jacking off because you're sick of fucking your wife. I mean, she's a poor Conor. You could do a lot better, but happy Monday. My team sent you a $50 million offer this morning. $50 million cash, proof of funds, the biggest fight offer you've ever been offered, but you're scared to fight me, Conor. You're ducking me because you don't want to lose to a fucking YouTuber. You're 0-1 as a boxer. I'm 2-0 as a boxer. I just came off the 8th biggest pay-per-view event in history, but you want to fight Dustin Prober, who has less followers on Instagram than my fucking dog. That's a fact. And Dana White, you're a fucking pussy too, you ugly fucking bald bitch. You said there's 0% chance of this fight happening, but there's 0% chance of you getting some fucking pussy. Conor, you're scared. Dana, you're scared. Sign the fucking contract, you idiots. Jesus fucking Christ. Irish bitch. Fucking God. What the fuck is up, you Irish?
Right.
What a strange video.
Now, the thing that I don't like about is obviously he got very personal about D, right? Now,
yeah,
D, as you know, look, Conor McGregor is not the easiest person. You could tell. There's been loads of stories. We all know the stories about him sleeping with different women and all of this rubbish. But I think the best part of that was, well, if Conor McGregor's missus is a 4, well, then what is your girlfriend? He put up a picture of his girlfriend, and it was fucking hilarious, man. Jesus.
I'm going to have to have a look at her now.
Anyway, but, right, I want to ask you, though, this is a YouTuber. By the way, this is the very same YouTuber that during the riots in America, when stuff was being looted, was actually caught with stuff. And there was a whole thing. He was actually, he was actually spotted, seen on camera, taking stuff. This fella is, if everybody thought Conor McGregor is a scumbag, this fella is even worse than Conor. I can't believe I'm saying that. This fella is worse than Conor McGregor. But the thing that annoyed me about the whole video was that with that tricolour. How you disrespectful little bastard. That's all I'll say. And by the way, if Conor doesn't fight you, see the 50 million. You don't have to give me 50 million. I'll fight you for a tenner. 2-0, you'll be fucking 2-1 because I'll bleed and to tell you something, man. The Conor McGregor will destroy. And then Nate Diaz, which I thought was brilliant. Nate Diaz then come in because Nate Diaz was having none of it. And Nate Diaz said something about a bit, you get your ass kicked or something. And then he comes back with, well, look what I did to your NBA star. I knocked him out. So big, you knocked out an NBA star, you fucking idiot. You're not going to beat Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor would bleed and beat you with one arm. And do you know what, actually? Do you know what I'd say if I was Conor McGregor? Take the fight. Yeah? Take the fight. It's 50 million. It's easy money for you. Yeah? Just go in.
It's spark him in one round.
Hit him with a left hook and he is down because Conor McGregor's power, even UFC fighters have said it, MMA fighters have said it. When Conor McGregor hits you, you feel it. So he hasn't fought Jake Paul has not fought anybody decent. So if he gets in the ring with Conor McGregor, I'm sorry, it's game over. It's game over. That's an easy 50 million quid. I'd take it just to knock him out.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose there's an air. Like, I mean, look, it's amazing to think, and I mean, that's how far boxing has fallen. That's where it's going to fight Floyd Mayweather or his brother is one or the other, and this is the show jumping sort of weirdo world that the boxing world has become. I mean, look, you have Anthony Joshua there on the weekend who fought Pulev. I mean, Pulev is like 50. What? I mean, the fight is Tyson Fury, and I mean that's why boxing has become such a joke, because these guys are ducking each other constantly, and it's allowed for these weirdo matches to come out. And these, I mean, it's really indicative on anybody that wants to talk about boxing or anything like that in terms of how boxing is in trouble at the moment. I think Nalzer said they're exiting themselves from the stream, so it's quiet time here now. Only joking, now, I love you. But what happens with boxing at the moment is you have a massive problem because the boxing industry is in tatters. They are constantly ducking opponents, and what's happened now is you have had all of these YouTubers now, the likes of KSI and the Pauls and whatever, that have introduced this beef and nonsense. Oh, you're back. And they have gotten viewers, and it's amazing stuff, because it just goes to show that if you put two people against each other that don't really like each other, it's going to get the views. And I mean, irrespective of belts and all this, but some of those views that they've gotten for the boxing is nothing to be sniffed at, because I mean, they've gotten better views than some of the highest pay-per-views of all time, which is incredible stuff.
I watched there's obviously a market fight, and it was interesting, the interview after it, when he was asked about Tyson Fury. You could see it in his face. He fears Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury,
he does. He's trying to avoid that fight, and I don't care what anybody says. He said he'll fight anybody, any place, anytime. He's been asked several times now about the Tyson Fury fight. I want him to fight the Gypsy King, because the Gypsy King is going to knock his bloody block off. The Gypsy King is brilliant, man. I love Tyson Fury.
Fury's a top boxer, but that's the problem with AJ. AJ's an athlete, and he's like Homer Simpson in that episode of The Simpsons when he fights Dredrick Tatum and he just walks forward into punches. That's Joshua. He's just got a very strong chin. But you with an individual like Tyson Fury, who has that boxing IQ, he has that height, he has that power. You piece up an individual like that. I mean, look what he did to Deontay Wilder on 2 occasions. The first occasion, Tyson Fury was in tatters in terms of his cardio and his physical ability, and he still like battered Wilder in that first fight. The second fight, obviously, he absolutely smoked Wilder. So I couldn't see an issue with Tyson Fury's fight. And
Can I just shout out a channel there? Mr. Hyde's podcast is there. He has actually launched a second channel. If you are fans of music and interviews, obviously music-related interviews and fun stuff like that, he has got a second channel that he announced last night. So I've already subscribed, guys. He last time I checked, because he'd only set it up, he had about 12 subscribers. So go and check out his second channel. I seen him in the chat there. Mr. Hyde, if you want to put your second channel in, mate, please do put it in the chat there so everybody can follow you there. And we're not going to have any talk of if you could do something about that, please. So let's continue. Yes, so I mean, look, I think boxing became a joke when Conor McGregor actually took that fight with Floyd. I think that opened the gate to all of these so-called.
It did in a way, yeah. It did in a way, and I agree with you on that.
To be honest, boxing has been a bit of a joke for a few years now, and it's sad because I do love boxing. I think it's a terrific sport. It's two men. They leave it all on the canvas, I love MMA. I love MMA more now, I have to be honest. But even lately, I haven't been watching it because, BT Sports that we have here, they now do some of the fights as pay-per-view. Actually, Conor is coming back for a fight, and I guarantee you, the first fight that he comes back, they're going to charge us 25 fucking quid to watch it. And I'm not paying 25 quid to watch Conor McGregor fight some fella that I know he's going to bleed and beat, right? Conor's going to smash her, man. Conor's been training. I mean, that fight against Cowboy, I don't care what anybody says, right? You might say Cowboy was coming to the end of his career. Cowboy is a fucking great fighter, and, it takes a lot to get that man down. We've seen these fights over the years. That man does not fall without getting a serious fucking beating. And when Conor McGregor hit him with those fucking shoulders, I've never seen anything like it. And the way Conor reacted after he won that fight, you could tell. He got that passion back. And I hope he still has that spark, because that's the Conor McGregor that we want. I don't want this Conor McGregor. See that 100 million? That 100 million fight ruined him. It fucking ruined him because the hunger went out of him. Now, I hope he's after the Cowboy fight. I could see that the hunger was back. I hope he maintains that now and comes back. But the one thing I want Conor McGregor to do to solve all of this issue about him being one of the greatest fighters, right? This is what you need to do, Conor, right? You need to go, right, when you get a chance to fight for a belt, right? When you win that belt, then I want you to defend that belt. When you defend that belt, right, and successfully defend it a couple of times, then I'll call you the greatest. But you're not the greatest, and you never will be, because yes, you might have been the first two-time champion, but you didn't defend any of those belts whatsoever. So as far as I'm concerned, you're only classed as a true champion when you defend a belt, like a Muhammad Ali, like, you know, like a Mike Tyson. When he lost, he thought, and he won it back. That's what great champions do. So if you want to be remembered as the greatest, you must defend the belt. And, you know, get this ego. And he did the right thing after the Cowboy fight. He didn't drink any alcohol after it. He didn't get himself into fucking trouble. He did have his party, but he didn't get himself into trouble, and he went fucking home. That's what he needs.
Here's what's interesting as well too now, right? Okay, when you're talking about Conor McGregor and where he fell, in particularly in the boxing fight now, I mean, to me, the boxing fight, obviously, he did very well in. He landed more punches than Manny Pacquiao. He landed more punches than any other professional boxer had ever done beforehand.
Away from him, for fuck's sake. Floyd.
Now, also as well too. Go ahead. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, Floyd is a bit of a fraud. I'm sorry, he isn't the best pound-for-pound fighter ever was, right? Because if you look at most of his fights, he runs away from most of his fucking opponents. He just happens to get the crucial shots to win fucking fight. Even against Conor, you could see it. Watch that fight again. Ninja Knight is right. Conor McGregor was fucking hitting him with punch after fucking punch. And what was fucking Floyd Mayweather doing? Running away or getting the referee's help.
Totally agree. The referee was very, very biased in that.
I'm telling you now, I firmly believe that if that ref had a ref the fight properly and stopped fucking Floyd from acting the bollocks, Conor McGregor would have actually won that fight, believe it or not. I honestly do believe that Conor McGregor would have won that fight.
I think it was round 3, and I think it was round 3, and McGregor hit Mayweather, and Mayweather was shook, and he was like staggering backwards. And the referee interjected for no reason whatsoever. And that gave Mayweather enough time to recover. And again, it was like, I mean, McGregor was essentially wrestling the ref and Mayweather. Yeah. But I mean, for me, that like, I mean, I've always had an interest in boxing, but I think that was the final nail in the coffin until like the likes of Fury came along. That was just like this organization is so corrupt and so finished that like even as plainly as what they're doing there. And you will have people that are boxing purists and stuff like that, you know, but it's a total joke, you know, and what we're going to have to see now in terms of boxing going forward is going to be these freak show fights. The likes of the MMA, though, as well, too, to be known, is that Khabib, obviously, is the champion of that division. But he retired. But the thing was with McGregor lasted 4 rounds with him, and McGregor was pretty much off his tits up until the day of the fight. And there's Justin Gaethje didn't last, I don't think, 2 rounds. McGregor was into the 4th and he was fucking off his brain. So, like, I mean, that goes to show you how good McGregor is. He is. No, listen, McGregor, I'm not going to deny that McGregor is a great fighter. He is. I've watched listen, as an Irish fan, obviously, I am a Conor McGregor fan. I always have been. I've watched these fights in his younger career when he was knocking people out. And when his ground game was actually fucking great, he got a few submissions along the fucking way as well. I mean, I don't know. The thing about it is, though, against Khabib, I think if he had have polished up on his ground game, I don't think he would have lost that fight either. Well, because I don't know whether you know this, but I know this as well from again a person who I can't really say too much, obviously, on this, but because it lets in too much. But McGregor was going into that fight with Khabib with an injured foot, a broken foot, and a broken hand, or a repairing hand. The hand was broken, the left hand at the time. Now that was. I can't obviously say too much live on a stream because of how I know it or anything like that, or where it occurred, obviously, for obvious reasons. Yeah. So when you look at that fight again with Khabib, Conor McGregor doesn't throw one kick Not one. And now, I mean, when you look at all of Conor McGregor's fights, they're his most devastating weapons. I mean, look what he did to Nate Diaz in the second fight with Diaz.
Look what he did.
He
to
chopped at
fucking
those legs.
What's the wrestler?
Exactly.
Fucking he kicked him, kept kicking
Chad
him.
Mendes.
Chad Mendes kept kicking him in the fucking, and even Chad said it.
McGregor.
You don't realize those kicks actually knocked the wind out of me.
Oh, did you?
That's what he said. That's why he looked so tired when he got knocked out, because people were saying, oh, well, he knocked Chad Mendes out very easy. Well, no, he winded the cunt for bleeding, whatever, how long he winded him for. And then when he got him up against the bleeding cage, that was it. As soon as he hit him with that punch, that left hook, that was it. It was game over. He would never eat. But even Chad said it, those kicks are his weapon. You know, he
and when you take that away,
punch, and I tell you fucking something, I do honestly believe that if you're right in what you're saying, if he really did have an injured foot, well, then that explains a lot to me, to be quite honest with you, because I honestly did believe that he'd be Khabib, because Khabib, his last fight, he barely scraped through, if you remember, and I thought Conor's going to destroy him now. Because Khabib's, let's be honest, his ground game is brilliant. If he gets you down, you're fucked. I will say that. If he gets you down on the ground, you're going to submit. It's done. He has you. Game over. But you're right now thinking about that. You're right. I don't think he did throw one kick in that fight. So if that is the fucking case, I tell you something. Khabib should. I know Khabib's retired now. I don't know how I feel about that, because I did want to see the second fight between the two of them happen. But I did think when his father died, Conor McGregor was classy. Fair play to him. I know that he always said it was only business, but Khabib took it personally, like most of the fighters did, because they've never come across a guy. Listen, Irish people are like that, by the way. If we go to war, trust me, right, we've already beaten you before you've gotten into a ring, octagon, or whatever. And that's why Conor, listen, do you remember when he knocked out fucking what's his face in 13 seconds? Aldo.
Yeah.
Aldo was already beaten before he got into the cage. Even watch the start of that fight. Look at Aldo on his side, right? He already knows he's lost. He already knows he's lost, because Conor was able to get under his skin. And that's what us Irish people are very good at. We can talk. We know how to get under your skin before you are defeated before you even get into a bloody fight.
Have you ever seen the training or the locker room thing that McGregor does? And he before he fights Aldo, and you see it, the exact same movement that he clips Aldo with, and he does it in the locker room just before it. And I mean, he had said it to everyone. He was like, "I'm going to hit him with this. He's going to come forward. I'm after irritating him so much now. I'm going to do it."
And that's what that 13 second. And Aldo, I always remember when Aldo gets up off the canvas, he doesn't realize he's lost, and I'm like, "Yeah, you got knocked the fuck out, pal. Now shut up." Yeah. Because there's been rumors about him for years that he's been, drug cheating, but they've never been able to prove it. But Conor, I mean, let's be honest, anybody that Conor McGregor has fought, look at their career since then.
Yeah.
Bar Khabib, let's just say. But the rest of them, right, the careers of what kind of went south. No, but, after they fought Conor McGregor, they made their money, they kind of gone. They never recover. Aldo now has won a couple of fights since then, but he's not the same fighter. You can clearly see after he got chinned, that was it. He was gone, and he doesn't have a chin. He has a glass chin. So everybody knows if you hit Aldo with a good enough punch in the chin, he's gone. And the fascinating thing about that was, though, Conor got clipped as well. The two of them literally punched each other at the same time, but because Conor's power, that was it. It was. Oh, I love that.
That's marvelous. It was marvelous, man. I have to say,
also Irish. I was that night. It was like everybody felt it. The whole of Ireland. I'm not messing. Even people that weren't MMA supporters. There was fucking cars.
It was like winning the World Cup.
Beeping early in the fucking morning. People were singing "Ole, ole, ole." The tricolours hanging out the window. He really has. Listen, this is one thing I'll say about him. No matter the controversy around Conor McGregor, you don't realise what Conor McGregor means to Irish people. Our country has gone through the shitter the last few years with our government. And Conor has given us a bit of joy, bit of hope. Yeah, an Irish man over there kicking ass. And he's right when he says, when the one Irishman goes to war, we all go to war. And he's right. We were all G'd up for that fight. I remember staying up. There was, oh, Jesus Christ, man. House parties everywhere. It was brilliant. And it just lasted 13 seconds. And I was kind of a bit pissed off. But at the same time, when he won the belt, I was just so proud. It reminded me, you know, it wasn't the kind of same thing as that whole Italian 90 thing where the country was fever pitch, but it was close. It was close. But then, of course, to me,
it was like winning the World Cup, though, because he actually achieved something. Like it's one of the things about the Irish football team that irritates me to no end. When it's just like, oh well, we're just turning to the competitions. It's nice to be here. No, go there to win it, you fucking bums. I mean, that's why Roy Keane is such a polarizing figure. Because he's like, why would we be just going there just for the laugh? He was Manchester United captain. He's going to win leagues. He wasn't just turning up there for the fucking crack. He was turning up there to make sure there was going to be something coming out of it. I mean, that year that they played in the World Cup with Roy Keane and the Saipan incident, had Roy Keane have stayed, I'm convinced that Ireland would have won the World Cup. Convinced.
I agree with you 100%. Actually, I'll even go as far as to say I love Jack Charlton, right? What he did for Irish football. And you don't realise what impact that man had. An Englishman coming over here to take over the international Irish team was frowned upon at the time. But he got us to the Euros, and then he got us to the 1990 World Cup. But I will say this, right? Even though he done all of that, and I love him. I do love him. The thing about it is, though, is that with the team that we had in 1990, we had Tony Cascarino, you had Liam Brady, you had Ronnie Whelan, John Aldridge. I mean, you had Paul McGrath. You had like the cream of the crop of Irish footballers, and he played a negative style, right? But we were the first country to kind of, where the song came from, put them under pressure. We did press a lot of teams. But I do believe that if we, because we got beaten by Holland 1-0 to get knocked out. I do believe, no, Italy it was. We got knocked out by Italy. In the quarterfinals, wasn't it? Yeah, because we got to the quarterfinals by beating Romania on the penalty shootout. I do believe we would have won the World Cup if he had played a more positive attacking football. That was their time. The very first World Cup that we were in, that was their time to win the World Cup, to be quite honest with you, because the team that we had. Now I'm going to stop talking about.
Oh my gosh, I fallen off the couch.
Why? Well, this channel is about talking about art, right? So if people don't like the football, I'm sorry, but like we're going to talk about it for a few minutes.
Desperate.
Well, if you want to put a super chat in, put a super chat in.
No, I'm not going to.
Right, well then stop moaning.
Hang on for a second. I'm just after saying some of Cheryl's comments there. You know, she's coming from a country where they play a game for 4 hours, and I mean that's not only the NFL. That's baseball.
Yeah, she hates American football. She can't stand it, and baseball as well. She went to a baseball game one time. She was bored shitless.
Oh my god, no, I went. Okay, it was an ex-boyfriend, so I went. And he was a super baseball fan. And it's like, I don't know, one of the first games I've gone to since I was a kid. Couldn't be bothered. He's sitting there because I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, he was like, what are you so excited about? I'm like, I am getting really good at guessing how fast the pitches are. And the trivia over in the corner, I'm just having like a whole thing, like counting, like how many people are in the crowd. Could not be asked to pay attention. American sports balling is so boring and takes all day long. That's why we're all drunk at the games. There's literally nothing interesting happening.
That's it. I agree with you. I like hockey now. Yeah, I do like ice hockey. Bit of an ice hockey fan myself. But other than that, American sports really can't stand them. America. I actually sat there watching the American football game. As Cheryl said, 4 hours on BBC One actually show American football when it's on, and I was watching the game, and literally, right, they'll show a play, and then there's about 15-second ad breaks, right, and then back again, and then another play, and then they'll take another break. I mean, I think someone calculated it. If you were to play an American football game without taking the amount of breaks that you take, the game would last for about 20 minutes.
I say to people all the time, and particularly on my channel, for example, watch Gaelic football and watch hurling. It's absolutely incredible. This has just popped up now. I just wanted to chat to you about this and see what your thoughts were on this one, because it does feature a Doctor Who alum, and I have to say, I'm delighted to see that he's getting a bit of work.
Click into the article, go on, and read it out.
Okay. All right, here we go. So Matt Smith is out to getting a role in the Game of Thrones prequel. Now, for people that are still interested in Game of Thrones purely because of what it did. But what's interesting about this, as this does note, this is going to be set 300 years before Daenerys Targaryen comes around. So, is there a possibility that they could, alter what happened in the later seasons of Game of Thrones? Perhaps. I think if they were clever, they would separate this from the TV series that does follow it and basically have this stand on its own. And I think that would be a better idea. And I think people would actually accept that more so than it being connected to what was a disappointing end to Game of Thrones. But you have here Matt Smith of Doctor Who cast in Game of Thrones prequel as Mad Targaryen Prince. So it's kind of sad for this guy, because when you look at his Hollywood journey in terms of him being cast in the latest Star Wars movie, whether you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing, where he was removed from that and probably saved some egg on his face. But I think that is a sad, obviously, for him and career-wise. But now it seems like he's getting back in terms of career, and it's fantastic to see. So it says, following a rather quiet period for the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel House of the Dragon, there's finally an update from HBO with its latest casting announcement, bringing Doctor Who's Matt Smith to the series alongside The Outsiders' Paddy Considine, Ready Player One's Olivia Cook, and Truth Seekers' Emma Darcy. It's set 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones. The new show centres around House Targaryen and its troubled past. Considine will play the role of King Viserys Targaryen, who succeeds the old king at the Great Council of Harrenhal. Cook will portray Alicent Hightower, the daughter to hand of the king Otto Hightower. Darcy takes on Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the king's firstborn child with pure Valyrian blood, and is also a dragon rider. We have finally Smith as Prince Daemon Targaryen, a mad prince who was heir to the throne after his older brother, King Viserys. So I would imagine now from even that description, it's probably going to be, man bad, woman good, probably from this. This now. For now, House of the Dragon is scheduled to release sometime in 2022. Fans of Game of Thrones can learn more about the upcoming prequel over on HBO's website. So here we have the cast. Not a very attractive looking woman here now, is it?
No.
Just casting a thought there on that one.
But well, I mean, look, it's supposed to be back in the day, so let's be honest. Back in the day, back in the 1500s and stuff. If you look at women back in the day, they kind of looked kind of like her. So I just want to correct something, because someone thought I said gay football. It's called Gaelic football. It's Irish. It's I wish I could show you a clip, but the thing about it is, if I do, probably get into bleeding trouble with YouTube. But check it out on YouTube, Gaelic football. It's hurling as well is another good sport that we have here. I think it's.
I need to give my detailed analysis on hurling.
Hold on for a minute though. Yeah, I will. I'll let you, because Cheryl watched one. But Gaelic football and hurling is crazy, right? They're actually showing it in the UK now, and even the people in the UK are baffled when they watch this sport. But hurling is one of the fastest sports in the world. These fellas are bleeding.
Fastest sport in the world, yeah.
By the way, I just want to say something as well. These lads kick the shit out of each other. It's like, there's nothing, everything is left on the field though. I mean, they're literally handbags. They literally grab each other by the throats, the jerseys and stuff. And Gaelic football, now that's how you spell Gaelic football there. It's Gaelic. Someone has spelled the Gay. It's not gay. Yeah, but
I don't even think that would entice Lee to play football.
Yeah, right. The people want us to get away from sports. Fair enough, but we're trying. This is the whole point of this show. We just talk about random stuff, and including and we do have some topics, but we talk about random stuff as well. That's why it's called a Craic In Time, because we're having the crack. So we're
But
talking.
you know what? I will just say this
Go
one
on.
thing because I think Ninja Knight will get an absolute kick out of this because I'll actually hear his inner Irish just die. So I insist when Noel's talking about the hurling or whatever, calling them hurling sticks.
Oh no! Oh,
Yes, I told you.
I'm like, what do the hurling stick things do?
no, we can't believe that. No, you have to set her straight. Come on.
I already have.
As soon as I said it, his soul died.
By the way,
His face was so priceless because he's looking at me like, why are you saying those words?
by the way, just to let you know as well, Cheryl, what's the name of the ball that they use in hurling?
The hurley ball?
No. Get the sliotar.
Is it? Hold on. Is it the
It begins with an S. Jesus Christ.
I just said it.
Is it a snowball?
No, it's not a snowball.
Not a snowball.
Right, go on, Ninja Knight. Tell everybody what a ball is. What the ball in hurling is called.
It's called a sliotar.
Yeah, a sliotar.
Is it like the golden snitch?
Oh no.
Christ.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah,
Oh my God. See, this is, do you know what? But Sean, Cheryl, I have to be honest though, she loved it when she seen it because it's something that she's never seen before and she thinks it's crazy, right? But I have been trying to teach her because she's seen, we were going through, you'll know what I'm talking about. We were going through, do you know where Kilmainham Jail is? You know the park that's across from where the museum is?
Yeah.
You know, you can walk through that park. Well, there's a couple with a sliotar and a couple of hurls, and she was there. What are they doing? What are they doing with the hurley stick? I said, shut up! Shh. I said, no, it's a hurl. You can't. Do you remember when they brought out the plastic ones? I remember that far back when they introduced the plastic. We're like, no, give me back the wooden ones. But listen, we're talking about Irish sports now because I know some people don't want us to talk about it. Right, so we'll stop. But I mean, this is the point of this stream. We talk about almost anything. But I will ask Ninja Knight if there's anything else he wants to bring up because I've brought up a few things there now. But listen, you're being slagged by Chris there now. Chris is not picking up for you this time. He says, "Really, Cheryl? I'm not Irish, and I know it's."
Come on.
I'm bad with Irish.
Would you like me to read it in Irish?
Yeah, go on. You try read what he said. Okay. I'll put it up
really
on the screen.
I'm not Irish. I know it's a command and silence.
Oh my God, she's so bad.
Ninja Knight, do the proper pronunciation because I'm shit as well. But go on.
It's come on and sliotar.
Sliotar. Say sliotar.
Fair play to you, Cheryl. Fair play to you. That was a good attempt.
No,
I agree.
Not doing that. I will draw the line at the ketchup and hot dog.
No.
That is a sin against humanity.
No.
Ketchup and mustard.
That's it. Thank you, Ninja Knight. Told you.
Mustard only.
Right, listen, actually, just before we do continue on, we're a little stream here. Cheryl did put up a comment there. We are actually going to ask you if you have new stream ideas for myself and Cheryl. Myself and Cheryl are going to do more streams together. So, but fun streams, silly streams, not anything serious. So if there's anything you would like to see me and Cheryl do or talk about in a stream or whatever, let us know, will you, in the chat? And Cheryl will keep an eye on some of your suggestions there.
And we also understand that there must be streams where we literally just do a Teddy cam.
Yeah, don't worry, we will because I know you all wanted Teddy. Yes, so I felt a bit jealous yesterday when I brought Teddy on. You were basically all telling me to shut up and hashtag Teddy's on. Well, if you want them, I will retire. And I'll let you have Teddy. But he's been sitting there in front of a screen watching the dog lick his balls.
Oh, stop.
Curry sauce all the way on what? If you say on a hot dog, then Daniel, I'm sorry, even I have to say not a chance. I've never had a hot dog with curry sauce on it. Please tell me you're not saying hot dog with curry sauce.
Oh, no, yeah, you can get a hot dog with curry sauce. That's in Germany. It's called a Bratwurst. And they call it a currywurst in Germany. It's actually fantastic. The curry sauce.
Is it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. I'd say give it a go. Like it's very decent. They use what they do is they use a chip shop curry sauce on it. They do.
Oh, the chip shop curry sauce. Yeah, we do like chip shop curry sauce in Northern.
It's nice with the hot dog. It really is. I actually was saying the same thing myself. I was like, oh, that sounds nasty. But
that's a
yeah,
cool
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Right, Ninja Night. As I said, is there anything else that we haven't actually
yeah, well, I don't know if you popped this one up. I just had to share a screen with you there, and it's just focusing on your friend, Mandip Gill. Have you talked about this?
Oh, what's she done now? Is it the one where she says that she'll give Jodie Whittaker a kiss if she wears the lip balm?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So it's Doctor Who actor Amanda Gill announces her support for a gay relationship with Jodie Whittaker's daughter. Now, I was just going to ask you, because you're the Doctor Who aficionado, do you think that this is some good PR that she's trying to do after the video and social media incident? What's your spin on it?
I don't know. I think what she's doing here is she knows that there are some younger fans out there that have been shipping herself and Jodie Whittaker's character, and I think she's trying to appeal to them and pander to them. The recent social media stuff, I mean, when she put up that video and then she disappeared. By the way, is she back on Twitter is what I want to know, because she said she was giving up her social medias after that, but she was very active on Instagram still. So for anybody that doesn't know, she shared a video a while back, and she obviously thought it was funny, but I had all of these it was a video with these Indian stereotypes, and they were singing it was two white people, wasn't it, dancing away, and she thought it was funny. But then a lot of people start giving out, then all of a sudden then her Twitter account just basically, I'm leaving, I'm not coming back, blah 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 blah. And then, as Ninja Knight says, then a few weeks later, then we have all of this rubbish coming out with her. She says that she's up for a relationship with her character and the Doctor's character, provided that the Doctor brings some lip balm. I actually did a video on it. It's actually of the art.
I wasn't sure how it is.
But the thing, I think she's just pandering. And to be honest with you, if they do it, they're going to kill the show. It's a family show, by the way. I just have to point that out to people. That Doctor Who's a family show. So if you're going to start doing that, there are going to be some kids out there that don't understand same-sex relationships. Let's be honest. There's going to be kids out there that are not going to understand that. So is Doctor Who the right place to do it? No, it's not. It's not. Doctor Who is a sci-fi show. It's not it is an educational show to a certain extent, but at the same time, those kind of things, no. I don't want it in Doctor Who. I'm sorry, and people can call me whatever they want. I don't want that sort of thing in Doctor Who. It's a sci-fi. I don't want the Doctor full stop, whether it's a man or a woman playing the role. I do not want the Doctor in a relationship. End of. How many times do we have to keep saying this as Doctor Who fans? Or we're blue in the face saying it now. We never liked it. That's why Donna Noble and David Tennant's Doctor are the most popular, right? Of who's your favourite Doctor companion duo. And it's always David Tennant and Donna Noble. And why? It's because there is none of this bleeding romantic crap or puppy-eyed dog eyes at him. Oh, I love the Doctor. It was just a friendship, and that's why it worked.
That's why Winter Soldier as a Marvel movie works so well, because there's a bit of romance in it, but not like overburden, you know what I mean? It doesn't take the whole movie by storm, and I think that that's very important. Just what knowledge was shown here now is the McFarlane toys. What did you think?
Was this a joke? And you said it wasn't. And I'm just going to say, looking at that, because I've seen other art for Batman Beyond, this is an absolute joke.
What do you think? What do you think? What exactly about it do you not like?
What do I not like about it? The whole the bat symbol for starters just looks ridiculous. I don't like the belt. I don't like the red in it. I just don't like the red in the bat suit. It shouldn't be red, in my opinion.
You know where this comes from, don't you? You know it comes from Batman Beyond, the TV series.
Yeah, I do know. And Michael Keaton was rumored to be. People were saying they wanted Michael Keaton to play Batman Beyond, but I think that looks ridiculous. And you can't see the bottom half of that picture there, but you should see his feet. It looks weird.
Yeah, it's the McFarlane figures. They do have a very weird proportion to them. Like the head sculpt as well too looks okay. When you're looking down with the remainder of the figure, like the wings and stuff like that, they're supposed to attach into the arms. They don't.
Right.
They kind of stand on their own. And it looks like that they're permanently attached to the figure as well. He looks like to me like he's wearing a nappy.
Yeah, now that you say it does. It looks like he has a nappy on. For anybody in America, that's a diaper.
Yeah, diaper, yeah. So like some of the stuff that the McFarlane figures do is quite strange. So I was just wondering to get your thoughts on it, because I know when you said to me on Twitter, you're like, is this real? You know, I was just like, yeah, you know.
Well, I think it's awful.
Yeah, it's not great now. Sure, it's not.
I don't mind the top half. I don't mind the head. The head is all right. It's Batman Beyond, so I get it. I get the head part, but the rest of it just looks no. And I don't like the red. I really don't. I know some people might be a fan of the red and the black. I'm not.
Oh yeah, do you know what the problem with? I suppose people would associate it with it now is because the black and the red is very much so associated now with Batwoman. Where at the time it was associated obviously with Terry McGinnis. Terry McGinnis was a character that was in the Batman Beyond or Batman of the Future, as we'd know it, TV series that was aired, and that was set after the Batman animated series. So that's where this suit comes from. Bruce Wayne originally wore the suit, and then he gave it then to Terry McGinnis to become the new Batman. But you know, it's interesting to see what they do with this character going forward. This is a very popular character within the media. There's talk about Timothy Chalamet, I think that guy's name is, that they want him to play Terry McGinnis in a Batman Beyond movie. So I would be curious to see what they are going to do going with that one. But this is a popular character. This is a character that a lot of people like. So
yeah, there you go. There's some fan art of the. And I think that even this one here, so much better. Look at that. Yeah. I mean, even this one. Hold on. Where is it? This one is not too bad.
Yeah, that looks like it's from the Arkham game. That's kind of like a fan art type of idea. Yeah. I like that. It's more realistic looking. But see, the problem with the Todd McFarlane stuff is he doesn't really draw reference from one thing. He's like, oh, it's a combination of like 4 or 5 things, and it's like, well.
I do like this one though. Look at this. This one is.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I don't know if you could see that a big screen there, but hold on.
Try right clicking it and opening a new tab.
Yeah, there. Yeah, I'm a boomer. You know me, Ninja Knight. I have it anyway here. Wait till you see this. This is what I love. And this is Batman Beyond by Adu. It's fan art. It's 2D. So we'll give him a shout out there. And look at that. Look at that. See, this is what I want. Yeah, this is what he should look like. Yeah? So, you know, and then you look at what Ninja Knight, throw that up again there, Ninja Knight, and look what Ninja Knight is at the Sheridan, right, compared to what I've just at the shown there. And that was a fan art, by the way, that I showed you there by a duel. So well done, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Ninja, throw that up again there, and I'll just show it. And the feet are awful. You can't see the whole photograph, but the feet are awful. I'll read this super chat while Ninja Knight is doing that. He says it's from Nicholas Horton. And it's a £5 super chat, and he says Batman of the Future finale was in Justice League Unlimited episode, and there you go. There's the one that they're flogging. So which one would you prefer? Do you prefer the fan art that I just showed there, or would you just want this one? This, and I think this is what they're gonna go with. Are you happy with that? Because I think the fan art one is better. I thought the bat symbol on this. Do you know what it is? I tell you what throws me off this. It's the bat symbol here. It's too big.
Do you think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's too big. Yeah. Personally, now that's just a personal choice. I'd rather it be the way Abdul did it. You know, it's kind of like, you know, yeah. I don't like the big bat symbols. I never really have. But
I suppose, like, you know, it's like the Punisher symbol. Like, I love the big skull on him because it's supposed to be a target for enemies to be hitting. You know, to take away from the head. What do you think of this?
Right, all I'm just going to say is if you haven't watched Baldstreck's video, go and watch it. He literally loses his shit when he reveals the costume.
Oh, stop, man.
Seriously, he lost it. He literally breaks down. He laughs. He just can't control himself. What do I think of it? All right, I'll tell you what I think of it. Why are they still making this show?
Yeah,
seriously,
we've seen good shows.
This show, and you know, Baldstreck was you know, he showed little screenshots and explained what was I just don't know. It looks ridiculous. I
think the best euphemism for this is when she gets changed in the toilet. I think, like, I don't think they intentionally meant it, but I mean, could it be any more in the shitter than actually this character changing in the toilet in a public restroom? Like, this.
The point though, any woman that's playing Batman, can they not play Batwoman? Can they not play Batwoman without robbing something?
Well, you see, this is the CW, and the CW don't like to, like, for me, look, listen, this is the way I would go. If I was creating this character, okay, and now I will say there's one thing I'll give them props on for the Batwoman season 2. It still looks woke, it still looks terrible. But what they did was they didn't change an established character. What they did was they created an all-new character to take on the mantle, and 9 times out of 10, I'm all right with that. Certain characters that can work with, particularly ones like this. But what they did is they basically made this black girl and made her a drug addict and stuff like that. What I would have done if I was them would have been this. They should have made the character find Ruby Rose's Batwoman seriously injured, maybe obscured facially or something like that, so because we know she's left the show by now. And what this character does is she's a doctor. She's working in a hospital. She finds the Batwoman character and she basically, helps her heal up and then takes the suit and decides to embark on a life of vigilantism because she sees the criminal enterprises that have happened in Gotham City. She sees all the people that come in hurt and murdered as well too from these criminal enterprises, and she's lacked the tools, she's lacked the knowledge to do something about it. You might even throw in a bit of a storyline how she's a former cage fighter or she's a former martial artist or something like that, and she did that in her youth growing up, so it gives a lot more credibility to it. But no, good old CW just half-assed it and threw this character together, and they just made her a junkie that's stolen the Batsuit essentially, and is just going to go running around on a rampage. I mean, some of the writing.
Doesn't she? She kills someone or something, because Ballshrek mentioned in his video, well, Batwoman doesn't kill. Kate Kane never killed because apparently she probably killed someone in the look. Even the part where she goes boo, where she's upside down, God, no, get away. Look, I don't even know why this show is even continued, but
it's like they know it's a parody, and they just, I mean, the first thing I would have been doing after the fourth season would be I would certainly listen to some of the criticisms that were happening and work on those, but they look like they dialed it up to 10, and we're just like, let's go. But what's interesting to me is you heard about so many great shows that have great viewership that get cancelled or they won't get renewed. But this has gotten a second season, even though the viewership has halved from the first episode throughout the season. The viewership ratings have gone down staggeringly amount. Like, do they think this is going to fix this? I mean, this is incredible.
I just look. I remember watching all the review videos from Ballstrek. And every week I was like, how is this show? Seriously, how is this show actually still on TV? Actually, The weird thing about it is, right, Cheryl's parents love this show, right? And they actually hate the new season of Doctor Who. I just don't get that either, but like, there you go. That's how.
Mom said the acting is better.
Okay, so there you go. Her mother thinks that the acting in Batwoman is better than it is in Doctor Who.
Wow, that
says a lot. That the standard has gone so fucking low, and I think that's what has happened. I think mediocre shows aren't doing well because the standard of writing over the last few years has really dipped down. So when a show is a little bit better than what we've gotten in previous years, that it seems to do well. Batwoman, I really don't understand how this has gotten another season.
It's like even like, I like the Arrow. I did like the Arrow, but I mean, when you look at her objectively, like, Stephen Amell is a terrible actor, and I mean, he was like, I liked him as the Arrow. I thought he was very good as Oliver Queen. I thought the whole shtick that he did and it was quite good, but then he got found out in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, and it was just like, oh shit, this guy is actually a really bad actor, because he was really, even some of the other people that were in that actually were better than him. Like, I mean, even Megan Fox looked like a better actress than Stephen Amell.
No, I agree with you. I agree. I think Megan Fox, has been a very lucky girl in Hollywood. She's gotten she's only gotten where she is because of her looks. And I'm sorry, people can disagree with me on that. She has no acting talent. You watch acting that she's in, she's actually horrible in. Even Transformers, she's bleeding crap in. They only put her in because she's a bit of eye candy.
But again, it's another alleged situation. She is the same with Jennifer Lawrence. Allegedly there was a couch involved, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll say no more, but yeah, you're right. This is where most of these talentless actresses, this is how they end up getting Hollywood careers, which is startling. I mean, Cameron Diaz has openly come out and said that before she became the star that she was actually doing the nasty with the movies and stuff, if you know what I mean. I don't want to come out and say it, but yeah, I mean, look, Megan Fox wasn't bad in the teenage movie. I didn't mind that movie, actually. I know they've kind of changed the origins of the Turtles. I didn't mind that as much, and I have to be honest, Megan Fox wasn't really that annoying in the movie.
I thought she was okay.
Okay. But there is a scene in it, right, where it's clearly for the director and the male producers of it, where she's walking down the hallway with a school uniform on. Right?
Listen, were you looking away at that moment in time?
I was not. I have to be honest. Right? But that's why they put her in it. But I have to say, her acting in it, I think, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I think her acting in this is probably being the best acting that's come from this woman. Listen, April O'Neil is a redhead. I did have a problem with her playing April O'Neil, but then when I seen the movie, look, it's not a bad movie. The Force, it's not a bad movie, right? It does change the origins, and a lot of people have a problem with that. And I am a stickler for the origins when it comes to the Turtles myself. Have to be honest. But I gave this movie a go, and I did enjoy it. I just wish they'd make a decent Turtles movie, to be quite honest with you, because I think even with the old 90s movies, and I do like them, they're fun. But at the end of the day, I don't think they have ever made a decent Turtles movie. For me, honestly, personally, I think this is just me now. You might disagree with me, Ninja Knight, and if you do, fair enough. But I actually think that the Turtles movie, if you were going to do it now, it has to be R-rated.
Very interesting point, and I like that point. And when you look at the original version of the characters from the comics, they are R-rated characters. They are,
Yeah. So I think they could do an R-rated movie. Have the blood, the guts, the gore. Have it really. You could. I'm telling you, man. I would listen if they announced that, man. I'd already be at the cinema queue, like, give me a ticket, because I really do want to see a dark version of that movie. I've always wanted it, but I don't think they will. I don't think they ever will. I think every time that they do one, it'll be PG-13. And I'm sorry, affect the kids. Right.
But see, it's because of the ownership of it as Nickelodeon at the moment, and Teddy's Terrier Tales there brings up a great point, Cheryl. The TMNT is a fan tribute to Daredevil. It is. That's why these guys have the Foot Clan, and then the Hand is the one in Daredevil. Well, I mean, in the comics, they had some sort of a similar crossover that the same stuff that gave Daredevil his powers was the same stuff that grew the Turtles. So I like, there's a crossover. Yeah.
How did you know that?
Because I speak.
No, Mass and Cheryl. I didn't know. She never told me that. Well, how did you know that?
Because I know stuff.
Right. Why did you throw the picture up of the Turtles there?
Of which ones?
You just threw a picture up. I'm at the share it by you.
That's them, yeah. So that's from the 2014 movie. This is actually, I think this would be a good one to do. Like another way Rabbi does his video vaults. Maybe something like that on the Turtles movies would be a good idea. I have to say, and I know this is going to go to the chagrin of people that are there, I loved these two movies. I think these two movies are exceptional. And I think they actually spanked the 90s movies personally. I love how aggressive the Turtles look. I love how muscular they look. I like the way they all look individually different. Like there's a different look to all of them. Now I know people will say,
I agree with you. I think the first one now, have I watched the second one? I'm actually trying to think, did I actually watch the second one? I don't think I watched the second one yet. So I forget what the second one. And Nickelodeon has to get a lot of credit actually, because Nickelodeon Studios was kind of behind this, and he's right. I mean, look at them. I love all of this. I love all these little extra things. The goggles here with the glass, and he's got his sunglasses there. You got Michelangelo. And you're right. They do. Look at them. They're all completely different. They've all got a unique look, and I agree with you. I like the fact that they're this big and monster looking. I do. Listen, the Force movie, I love the little animation that they're doing all with the titles and all. The Force movie is great. It is. The origin story they did change. I thought I was going to be a stickler, and I thought I was going to. No, why are you changing the origins again? But I wasn't like that with this movie. I have to agree with Ninja Knight. I truly did enjoy
this was one of those movies as well. Now I don't know whether you remember at the time where they did actually listen to fan feedback, because at the time what they wanted to do with this movie was they wanted to introduce the Turtles as an alien race, and they wanted to have these four that turned up on Earth, and people pushed back against that massively. They were like, no, these are the four brothers for the reason that they are in, and you have to, do it the way that we've seen it before. And they actually did. They listened and were like, right, okay, ditch the alien stuff. They brought it into the second one with Krang, which we've seen in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series. So like they did kind of tie it back a little bit. But the same thing, I think that this is fantastic. I really like this film. And I actually like it more than the 90s movies, personally. But that's probably because I more or less grew up with this version. This was the version that was out when I was, it's only 6 years ago now, so old enough, but the 90s ones were...
It is actually interesting, because I do have a more of affiliation to the 90s movies, because they were the movies when I was growing up as a kid. So I get what you're saying with this movie, but I did really like this movie. I did like the Force movie. But I do agree, a man annoyed me. That fucking fella annoyed me. And they had left him out of it, left April O'Neil with the
Will Arnett character.
Being happy. And I did like the where you see them being trained and stuff. That was that. I mean, look, it's just I like that movie. But again, for me, one day I want to see an R-rated version of these these characters.
Well, I think the beauty of something that you said earlier on, like the Joker and having these multiverses. I mean, they've opened up a multiverse in the Turtles universe many times beforehand. And I think what they could do is, I mean, I don't see why companies are afraid to do it, but like have a simultaneous thing running, have a kid show on, but also have an adult, maybe Netflix series of the Turtles that's all rated for the adults. Like you're saying, exactly like you're saying. And like have that there. Have similar looks, or maybe something that's aggressive looking, and then that they are able to dish out punishment. You know what I mean? And I think like everyone would be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have an opportunity here. They could do a whole dark universe in all of these franchises if they really had the will. But I don't know. I mean, look, they have to start listening to fans, because I think fans know what they want. We know what we want. And listen, I want listen. If I was a multi-millionaire, a billionaire, I would actually buy the rights to these characters, and I would actually do R-rated movies, and I'd bring out a whole
that's a great idea
thing as well. I definitely would, because look, we grew up with we all grew up with the cartoon. And then there was when the movie did come out, and when they announced the movie, I think in 88 or 89. When they were talking about bringing a live action movie, there was a lot of skepticism around, because they were like, well, how are they going to get these characters into these suits? Because remember, CGI wasn't really a big thing back in the day, so it was all practical and costumes and stuff. But I have to admit, even then, and they had problems with the costumes, they had problems with doing the stunts, but that movie still those movies, and I know you're not, I know you think that the recent ones slapped them to the wind, but I do like them. I do like what they tried to do with them, and they had the attitude. Look, it's just these are. It's like it's their childhood, and I just
absolutely, you're right. You're right to stand over it, man. You really are, and I mean, I get it. Look, I mean, you know, when you attach to something like that, it is very personal. And I mean, I think sometimes what's needed for these properties is for them to get into the hands of people like yourself that's a fan and that knows the direction of how it should go. I mean, look, I can only imagine what the Doctor Who license would look like with you, you know what I mean? And I think it's something, I think that you would know exactly what you would want to do with it. I think you would know what's best for it. And also I think that's what's missing from the whole situation at the moment. There's people that are interested in these various properties, not just Doctor Who, but also Star Wars and Star Trek and Transformers at the moment as well too. It's people that are genuinely interested in what's the best for the brand instead of this kind of let's piss off the fans idea. I mean, it's a strange idea. And I mean, like I said to you before, it seems like this attempt at annoying fans, whether it be sport, entertainment, movies, TV, it's all seemingly coming at the same time, and it seems like a collaborated, you know, sort of effort into destroying entertainment. And I'm just curious as to what the end game is.
Right. I've got something here that's going to piss you right off. That's been sent to me, and I think he's only at the releasing it. So I'm just going to throw it up and see how you react to this. When someone jokes like this, and all I just want to say is when you get a director or a writer or anybody joking like this, you need to be worried. So I just want to show you, and you'll know who this guy is, actually, Ninja Knight. I don't know if you've actually seen this because I think this has only been released. So Star Wars, what's his name? Taika
Waititi.
Yeah, whatever. Jokes. His movies will ruin the franchise. Writer, director, blah, blah, blah. Jokes. He's so angry, he's going to ruin the franchise following the announcement of his upcoming Star Wars film. Writer, director, you have to keep saying his name.
Taika Waititi.
Right. Jokes. He will ruin Star Wars following the announcement of his upcoming film. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. His stock has risen exceptionally over the last decade, fine-tuning his signature irreverence, if that's what it is, with independent movies like Boy, What Do We Do in the Shadows? Never heard of them. Hunt for the Wilder People. That sounds bleeding stupid. His first real blockbuster, Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
It was all right. It wasn't great. Reinvigorated the Thor franchise and left an indelible impression on the MCU after winning an Oscar for his most recent film, Jojo Rabbit, which I've never watched. He has become one of the most sought-off personalities in Hollywood. So he's joking, basically. I'm not going to read this whole article. I'm sure you will do a video on this, actually. But when you get someone like that making a joke like that, but seriously, you should take that really.
This is exactly what I spoke about at the start of this stream, about the egotism and the narcissism that's currently in Disney. These people have had some hits, and what they've done now is they've gotten overconfident, they've gotten cocky, and instead of saying, look, I'm going to deliver, as a Star Wars fan, the best thing I can do, he has gone and said something like this, which is going to obviously cause inflammatory reactions. It's going to cause people to be upset, but also then doesn't reassure anybody that's a fan that that's what people want to do. I mean, just yesterday, just so you know as well too, Nia DaCosta, who is going to Captain Marvel 2, she's the director of that. They announced Captain Marvel 2 and they didn't tag her on Twitter, and she retweeted them and said, "Tag me, you cowards." So I mean, these are the type of poisonous individuals that have gotten their way into Marvel and particularly into Disney as well too. And these people feel like that they are calling the shots. And Waititi has had an awful lot of smoke blown up his arse. The Ragnarok movie, in my opinion, was absolutely woeful. I mean, it took Thor from a very melodramatic character to an absolute buffoon and meathead for a large part of Ragnarok, which was totally unlike him. Jokes that didn't fit, like even the Surtur jokes at the start where he's swinging around in the cage, embarrassing. The Jeff Goldblum character was good in it. I thought that was a good part of it. I thought Tessa Thompson was unneeded, and just when you look at some of the stuff that she's been up to recently as well too, in her saying that she doesn't want to work with white men and men in general, I'm sure Christian Bale would be interested to hear that and see what his reaction would be to her on the set. I'm sure that would be hilarious. But like, then you have Taika Waititi then saying to people, it's not female Thor, it's just Thor, because Natalie Portman's going to be the female Thor in Thor Love and Thunder. So you have an awful lot of this combative nature that's coming from these people. He's had one hit, albeit in a cookie cutter script that's given to him from the Marvel Studios brand. And now we're going to see what he's going to do at Star Wars. And I think a lot of people buy into the name. They buy into that he's a media darling. He's a bit of a weirdo. He decided to try and parody, what should I say, the man with the toothbrush mustache from the Germans in the 1930s.
Who you're talking about? Yeah.
He was going to parody that guy.
I don't even know why his film won an Oscar, to be quite honest with you. Looking at even the trailers that I've seen, it looked like a joke of a movie. Listen, when a guy like he did this deliberately, by the way. Let's make no bones about this. He came out and said what he said because he wants a reaction, and he knows that there's going to be people now, especially the big YouTubers out there, are going to do videos about this, and I think that's what he wants. I think he wants to be in the limelight. I think he wants to be center of attention, and this is why he said what he's at to saying. Now, I'm sure you're going to do a video on it as well.
Yeah.
There you go.
I find he's a very strange little fella, and I think that it seems like another cry for attention. He's a weird little fella when you see any of his interviews and stuff like that, and he certainly has an agenda, because when Ragnarok was rolling, he came in and he was very sort of how can I say, polite and humble, and saying, it's great to be here, and I'm a nobody that's directing a big budget Marvel movie. And since then, like, the narcissism has just grown, but that's helped on by the media, who heaped appreciation on this guy, and then he does a parody of that bad guy, and he thinks it's very funny. And I mean, look, I'm the first person to say humor is subjective, but then when you try to actively piss off Thor fans, and now you're trying to actively piss off Star Wars fans, I mean, let's be real. The Disney Investor Day, the biggest comeback that people had from that, and the biggest elation and happiness people had walking away from that, was Rian Johnson didn't get a trilogy. Seriously, when you look at some of the stuff online after that,
still people out there that are saying that he is going to get this trilogy. As even some journalists have come out and actually said that he's getting this trilogy, that Star Wars fans actually better wise up, because it is going to happen. But I do want to read this out a tweet, because it was got to do with the Turtles news, because we have moved on, so I don't want to forget. But Nicholas Horton did give us a £5 super chat, and he says the original TMNT comic Turtles did appear in 2003 animated series finale, he said.
Yeah. And they were badasses.
I'm going to let Ninja Knight talk there for a second, because unfortunately, because I keep sharing the screens, the chat stops, and I have to be fresh. So I'll let Ninja Knight continue his point on what he was talking about, because, listen, this guy, I'm not happy, but going back to the Rian Johnson news real quick, there are still people out there that are supporters of him, and are blue check marks that are saying that he is getting this trilogy. They just haven't announced it.
Well, I mean, what better time to announce it than at the Disney Investor Day would have been the idea to do something there. They announced the Taika Waititi movie that had been heavily rumoured. We've already had confirmation that Johnson was going to have a movie, 3 movies at that, and we also had confirmation that the 2 boys from Game of Thrones were going to have a trilogy. There's been nothing said about that. We know that they are not going to do it. It seems to be like that Star Wars, maybe that was the idea with throwing out those 10 shows and the 2 movies. It was to try and smoke screen and try and cover up, because people were inevitably going to look and go, where's Johnson's trilogy there, lads? But when you look at the reaction to that online, particularly afterwards, most people were not even concerned about what had happened. They were like, yeah, Rian Johnson didn't get a trilogy. But like I said on Twitter as well too, people think Rian Johnson's a bad guy. What he did to The Last Jedi, absolutely, you have every right to think that. I thought that. I was very much so angry leaving the theatre after seeing that. I did not go and see The Rise of Skywalker afterwards. But like I said, Dave Filoni is as big a problem as Rian Johnson. And as long as Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy are anywhere near Star Wars, it will always have problems. And it will inevitably have problems, because they will introduce weirdos like Taika Waititi, like Patty Jenkins, like Leslie Headland. I mean, and then the guy from Dear White People. That's 4 people that they've introduced to counteract the one decent individual we've had in the last couple of years in Jon Favreau. I mean, that's where we're at.
Like Dave doubled down because Jon Favreau is doing his own thing. He's not pandering, so they decided, right, let's announce all of these shows. So then I think someone actually made a good point, and I think this is very relevant, actually. Some people have said the reason why they've announced so many shows is that Kathleen Kennedy will have hers that she can work on, and then the others will have their shows to work on. So they're kind of trying to pander to everybody. What do you say about that, actually? If they are actually doing that and Kathleen Kennedy will concentrate on certain shows that they've mentioned, but she's not involved in all of them, would you be happy with that? Because then you could then, as the consumer, then choose which shows you want to watch. And if any of them have Kathleen Kennedy involved, you can say, well, I'm not a Kathleen Kennedy fan, so I'm not going to watch. But you'll watch the other ones that don't have her involved.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but what I wanted to, I'm going to use a gardening euphemism here. It's like a weed. When the weed grows, it extends and it grows many different type of weeds from it. And Kathleen Kennedy has inserted other weeds into the other projects. I mean, there's Filoni's involved. You've got the Taika Waititi involved. You've got Patty Jenkins involved. You've got the Dare White People guy involved. And you have Leslie Headland. I mean, they are an incredible amount of weeds to have in a company that are going to be extensions of her. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's interviewed these people. She understands who these people are. She's watched their social medias. She knows who these individuals are, and they are all bending to her. They're running off the same script, the same way Johnson did. I mean, we've only heard recently that there was supposed to be a J.J. Abrams treatment for The Last Jedi that sounded better than what we got, but still like weird as fuck. So I mean, this is where Star Wars is at the moment. I was cautiously optimistic about The Mandalorian. It's over for me now. Season 2 has had so many speed bumps and problems, and it's introduced too many setups instead of focusing on the character of The Mandalorian. I would have rather they ignored everything else that was going on and just focused on Din Djarin and the child. That'd have been my way to do it. Don't introduce anybody that we know. We don't need the member berries that has plagued Star Trek over the last number of years, but they've gone and done it. It's irreparably damaged season 2 in my opinion, and I think going forward, there's too much work for it to be cut out. I think it was nice to have Jon Favreau. It was nice to have the idea, but it's over. It's done. Look at Deborah Chow as well too. She's another one that's an absolute lunatic, and she is going to be running Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Ewan McGregor, as we know, once he's off the reservation, is nuts as well too with some of the comments that he made surrounding Birds of Prey. So to me, it's a franchise. What needs to happen with Disney at the moment, they need to lose enough money on Star Wars that they have to sell it, and someone else can pick it up then and try and right the wrongs that went on there.
Do you know what? It's a shit show. I mean,
yeah.
Disney. Do you know what, George Lucas? Do you know what? The people are going to criticize me for this, right? And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, but George Lucas is at fault for all of this. Right, he sold the fucking thing. Right, he should have sold it to a company that he knew would do it fucking justice, but no, he didn't. He just gave it because they offered him the most fucking money for it. Now he has kind of kicked and screamed a little bit since then. Right, sorry, you can't kick and scream. You sold it. Tough shit. Right, whatever they do with it, it's your fault. Right, your fault. You sold it, and I'm sorry. That's where all the blame should really go down to. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is this, that, and the other. Rian Johnson is this, that, and the other. But the main culprit to the demise of Star Wars is George fucking Lucas. He sold the fucking thing, right? So he's the one that's responsible. And you know what he should have done? If it was me, he should have had it put in the contract somehow that they couldn't change certain fucking things. But he didn't. He took the money and he fucking ran. So he's the one that's at fault for all of this shit show. So the reason why the sequel trilogy was ruined Star Wars because he fucking sold it. He sold it. He wanted the fucking money because he says that he kind of ran out of ideas, but all of a sudden he's talking up about shit that he wanted to do. Well, why didn't you do it?
Why is it? What if he's playing 4D chess? Maybe he sold it for $4 billion and he can buy it back for $2 billion.
Well, do you know what? At the state that it's in fucking now, do you know what? George Lucas, make a fucking offer to Disney. Make an offer to Disney. You never fucking know. Because the state that it's fucking in now, I mean, but if I was George Lucas, I know he's 70 odd years of age, but I'd buy it back. I would fucking buy it back and bring in my own people. He can oversee the whole lot, but he doesn't have to get that much involved. But he can bring in his own people, right? I know Kathleen Kennedy was his own people, but look what she's turned out to be. But he could bring in people that he knows that would do it justice. For me, if he was to buy it back, right, I'd hand it over to Jon Favreau. And Jon Favreau alone, right, because I agree, right? Give it to Jon Favreau alone and let him bring in his own people, but make it clear that when he brings in these people, he's not to bring in any people that were part of Disney Star Wars. Simple as that.
I think Jon Favreau is gonna leave. I suspect, and this is just pure speculation. This isn't anything I've heard or anything like that, but I suspect with everything that's gone on, I wouldn't be shocked if Favreau left during season 3 or before season 3 started. Now, I know he started pre-production on it, and I know that he is involved in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he sees what's going on around him and decides to get out of there, because he should be wise enough after the first time he was born with Marvel to notice when the ship is going in the wrong direction and that he's going to be attributed to it. So, to me, like, if he was thinking about it, I'd say now is the right time, you know?
I know someone in the chat said there, Lucas took the sale with the understanding that they weren't going to do what they did. Alpha Omega, that's fair enough. But in fairness, come on. Yeah, it's if there was an understanding, he should have had it down in writing. In fairness, come on. He should have had it down in writing, because no way. I mean, this is something that he loved, right? He sold it, fair enough. He didn't want to, as someone has said there, he probably didn't have the energy or, you know, the same heart to go and start it all up again. I understand that to a certain extent, but to me, I don't think he should never have sold it. I think he could have brought in people that he could have continued it on and kept it himself. It was a big money making machine for him anyway. I just can't understand why he sold it to Disney. Disney, it was the biggest mistake, and I think it is the biggest. I'm going to say this out straight. I think this is the biggest deal in history that has that was the wrong deal to do. I think this is the worst decision ever made by anybody, and I don't think Ant will top it. Is the demise of this franchise, and because, you know, okay, he didn't want to, he hadn't got the energy, or he's older, as I've mentioned, but still, he could have kept it, and he could have brought in people to run it under his stewardship. You know, he could have overseen the whole lot instead of selling it. But he decided to sell it to Disney, and this is what you got. So he can't see, I'm sorry though, he can't kick and scream and moan now, right? Because he didn't make sure that he wrote he had something wrote on paper that they weren't going to do any of this. Right? As soon as you sell a property to another franchise, I'm sorry, they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. And that's what Disney is doing, unfortunately. Right? So he should have put things in place during the contract negotiations to make sure that they didn't change certain things, that certain things have to be left the way they are. It's common fucking sense, but he didn't. So he's at fault for all of this. Right? So he's the main man. He's the one that sold it to Disney. He took the $7 billion and he went on his merry little way. And then when he didn't like what they were doing, then he decided to pipe up. I'm sorry, George, you don't have a leg to stand on, mate. You do not have a leg to stand on, because you should have made sure that all of those stipulations that you had, that certain characters couldn't be changed or you couldn't do this, that was your job. And you basically, to me, it was the worst deal. His contract negotiations, it was bad, and that's it. He got screwed over because he didn't take the proper precautions. I'm sorry, if that was my property, I would make sure if I had certain stipulations that certain characters couldn't be changed, you couldn't do this, that, and the other, I'd make sure it was part of the contract. And if they didn't agree with it, you don't sell it to them. End of. So he's at fault for Star Wars' demise. I'm sorry, the guy that created it is at fault for its demise.
I disagree with you in the sense of I think there was an element of fucking 4D chess that was played by Lucas in terms of, I think that obviously he took very personally what happened with the prequels and the backlash that responds to the prequels in general. And I think he handed it over. And I'd say there's a part of him, there has to be a part of him that's like, well, you know, people hate the fucking sequel trilogy. And actually, as of we're standing now, people are starting to appreciate the prequels and they're appreciating my work. And I think he realized that he is beloved. I think people are realizing that they actually do love him and they do love his work. They do love his work. And I think that's probably a more peaceful thing that's for him. Now, in saying that as well, too, when you create something and you decide to hand the reins over to somebody else, it does, you know, obviously going to come with its drawbacks. I mean, you look at Todd McFarlane, for example, and whatever you want to say about Todd McFarlane, he is a businessman and he has his character Spawn. That character is never going to be out of his sight. It's going to be always with his company and for whoever comes after him in terms of whoever's heir is. You're looking at Ethan Van Sciver at the moment who's doing Cyberfrog, and he's like, Cyberfrog won't be sold out to any big company. And now, again, that's a fantastic idea because he's like, I'll hand it over to my kids and they can do what they want with it going forward rather than some soulless company or some company that can manipulate Cyberfrog and Spawn into something that they're not. And I think that is something that's there's something obviously very honorable about that. But also I think in the same token, I think Lucas probably thinks to himself, well, you know, I did the prequels, they're more appreciated now. The 6 movies that I did, which is the saga in his comparison to the Anakin Skywalker stuff, probably means, fuck it, I'm happy enough now with people hating the new stuff. And then when he was brought back for The Mandalorian, everybody knows that. They're like, he's the dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Retro, the Sentinel says he trusted Kathleen Kennedy. She said all the right things, though. Look back at all the interviews with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucas. She said she'd protect these characters, and he took her word for that, though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, look, in saying that as well, he's known her for years. He's known her since the early Indiana Jones days, and so is Spielberg, so he could have.
You know what these SJW people are like? They bide their time. They bide their time. They get themselves into big franchises like Lucasfilm. She was biding her time. She was never going to protect these characters, and he should have fucking seen it. That's the thing. That's what annoys me. He should have seen that. You don't just trust someone on a whim because you've worked with them for years, because they could turn on you like that.
Totally agree.
Maybe I'm different. Maybe I am different. Maybe I see things, you know, there's no little grey area with me and I see things black and white. But that's the way I see it. I wouldn't have trusted her as far as I threw her anyway, to be quite honest with you. And he should have I'm sorry, he should have kept it with his own company. He shouldn't have sold it to Disney. And by the way, he could have gave Kathleen Kennedy the job, right? But as soon as she started fucking up then, he could have sacked her, couldn't he? But no, he can't now because he's no part of it. He doesn't have a fucking say because he sold it for $7 billion. So,
he should have seen everything that woman was. For the amount of time that he was working with her, he should have known exactly what she was like. I don't think she could have just turned on the way she did.
Oh, exactly. And this is why I'm giving out. He had seen signs. There's no way that this man worked with this woman for years and he didn't get warning signs. Nobody turns overnight like that. You're right. Nobody just switches the whole bleeding ideology and their personal belief. She had them while she was working for Lucasfilm, and she was no. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Look, I love George Lucas. I love what he did, but he is partly responsible, right? And
either that now, or she played the greatest long game of all time and told them what they wanted to hear and thought that was. And I mean, when you look into some of the stuff that she was apparently a coffee runner. Now, that could have many euphemisms and possible different explanations as to what she was up to with Spielberg and Lucas. I will leave that for the mind to think about. But, you know, they've been working with her for a very long time. They should have a very good idea on her. And maybe it's possibly like she was used or whatever like that for years. And now this is her way of retribution against these people. You know what I mean? She's going to try and destroy Indiana Jones as well too. There's nothing shorter of that.
Right. I just want to say something about Indiana Jones. Number one, Harrison Ford is 70 odd years of age, right? Okay. I can understand why they want to do it because they want to erase the last movie, the Crystal Skulls one, right? Which was absolutely ridiculous. But Harrison Ford is too old now. I'm sorry, but I fear for this man because especially he'll want to do some of these stunts because that's the kind of man that he is. I don't want that to happen. Harrison Ford, I bleeding love him. But this Kathleen Kennedy in charge of fucking Indiana Jones, you know what's going to bleeding happen. right? Don't be surprised, right? I know Shia LaBeouf played his kid in it, but don't be surprised in this new movie if some woman comes into, young girl comes into this new film and says, "Oh, I'm your daughter, by the way," and then she becomes the new Indiana Jones, right? Because this is what Kathleen Kennedy does. She loves her Super A characters. By the way, I've just been sent a video of Matt Smith and Billy Piper about Revolution of the Daleks, and apparently in this clip, Matt Smith throws some shade at the episode. Now, I'll see if I can play it here, right? I can't. I'm not going to put it on screen just in case. I'll play the audio. So let's see if I can play this audio and see if he does indeed throw some shade at Revolution of the Daleks, or is this just people acting the balls? Right, let's see. Right, this is going to be funny if he actually did.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Will you be watching that Christmas Day?
It's actually New Year's Day, I think. Yes, I will actually. I think I'll tune in for a bit of Christmas Doctor Who.
Why is it on New Year's Day?
And then they've downgraded it. I don't know.
Holy, he did. He actually did. Did you hear that? When you heard it last night.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Will you be watching that Christmas Day?
It's actually New Year's Day, I think. Yes, I will actually. I think I'll tune in for a bit of Christmas Doctor Who.
Why is it on New Year's Day?
And then they've downgraded it.
They downgraded it. That's a former doctor. Actually,
he's not wrong.
I'm saying they downgraded it. Oh, thank you, Matt Smith. You are my hero. We need more people like you. Oh, man. Hopefully that gives the courage for other doctors to come out and actually say how they truly feel. That is brilliant. They downgraded it. I can't believe he said that. Well done, Matt. I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to stop getting excited there. But here, listen, we're going to end with this article because, yes, I'm going to believe this. So an article was thrown up 7 hours ago about the bear bug. And it says that the LGBTQ people are feeling the disruption. All right, I'll just put the article up. It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous, right? Right. This article is by Susan Miller. By the way, she's been criticised all over Twitter because of this. If you go in and actually check out the comments, people are not happy, saying that she's being divisive and stuff. So I lost everything. The LGBTQ people are bearing a bigger brunt of the pandemic, report shows. Now, I'm sorry, right? But this was my response to that on Twitter, right? And I'm just going to say this, right? Out straight, right? Because that is bullshit, right? And I'm going to call it for what it is. It's fucking bullshit. We're all suffering. So this is what I said. Everyone has suffered, you plank, no matter gender or sexual preference, you idiot, right? Don't be telling me that the LGBTQ plus community has suffered more when fucking millions of people out there have suffered, right? Straight, boy, gay, lesbian, whatever, right? This is the same usual crap that we get all the time. Give me a fucking break, right? The World of Atlas Marshall, a popular Portland, Oregon drag performer and karaoke company owner, imploded last spring. Mercy Perry, a Denver personal trainer with a beloved shoe shine business, felt her livelihood slip right through my fingers in March. COVID-19 has crushed a lot of souls in the lethal stampede across the nation, but for the members of the LGBTQ, and she doesn't actually add the other letters, such community, such as Marshall and Perry, the pandemic has been particularly precarious, exposing vulnerabilities that often bubble beneath the surface. A report out Wednesday documents the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on LGBTQ households, and the finding as sobering: greater economic upheaval, higher employment rates, and deeper challenges in accessing healthcare. What we are seeing is a reflection of disparities that exist prior to COVID being exacerbated by the pandemic, says Logan Casey, policy researcher for the Movement Advancement Project, which produced a report based on a national poll. Based on a fucking poll. Shut the fuck up. Based on a bleeding poll in July and August. Some reports findings from the poll by the NPR, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and the Harvard T. H. Chan School of Public Health. 64% of the LGBTQ households have experienced job losses versus 45% of non-LGBTQ households. 38% of the LGBT households have been unable to get medical care or delayed going to the doctor for a serious problem versus 19% of non-LGBTQ households. Specific groups with the community face greater challenges. Nearly all of 95% of the Black LGBTQ respondents and 70% of the Latinos indicated they or someone in their household experienced one or more serious problems. I'll tell you what exactly has happened here. What they've done is that they've actually gone and done a poll, and they've said it there. So the Black community and the Latino community, right? And they did a poll based in America, right? So they did a poll based in America in July and August, right? And this is where they've come up with this nonsense. Everybody has suffered, okay? This is not an LGBTQ plus health problem. It's a health problem for us all. Okay, I'm sick of this nonsense. Oh, look at the poor LGBTQ community. They just suffer more than the rest of us. No, you're not. That is presumptuous, and it's actually quite divisive and quite shocking to be saying. How dare you? How bloody dare you? Oh.
Well, you see, what happens as a result of this is that like these people cry foul and they look weak, and what happens is that because they attribute themselves to such groups, it actually makes the group look weaker. Then it makes people actually go, oh, these fuckers again. Like, I mean, and that's the unfortunate side of things, is because, you know, as you know, like the LGBTQ group of people are absolutely fantastic, and anybody that I've encountered, you know, that has common sense and rationality attributed to them are fantastic. And what happens is these people unfortunately give a bad name towards the community and make a strong community look weak. That's what they do.
Yeah, you get this Susan Miller one coming out with the voice of articles like that. How dare you? Right, we're all suffering here. It doesn't matter whether we're straight, gay, lesbian, as I said, every single person, no matter their sexual preference or their gender identity, are suffering. All right, to make it about one group or a group of people is the same rhetoric that we get all the time. How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? I'm sick of this rhetoric that straight people, and I'm sorry, it is. It seems to be we're constantly under attack all the time. It's bad to be straight now. It's bad to be straight. It's bad to be this, that, you know. And I don't give a shit what people say. You can come onto the stream and call me transphobic all you fucking want. I'm not being transphobic. All I'm fucking trying to say is that this fucking tick here, Susan Miller, writes a fucking article like that based on a poll that was done in the United States of America, and then makes the claim that the LGBTQ plus community has suffered more than everybody fucking else. Fucking how dare you?
Yeah, I think it's crazy stuff, and the thing is that it just helps to weaken the group. And I mean, they're already a minority in terms of what's going on in the world as well too. And I mean, like, some of the strongest people I know are people within the group. And, you know, even the fact that it's a group is fucking ridiculous in itself. Because I mean, they should just be like, that's just what, you know.
Everybody's individual, but we have to be lumped into all of these fucking groups, right? Yeah. I don't want to be lumped into a group. I'm an individual with independent fucking thought and my own fucking experiences, my own fucking views, and that's it. I'm sick of people like this. Fucking, and this is the type of person. Poor Susan Miller. This Susan Miller, she's a journalist, by the way. So just in case you think I'm calling out some ordinary Joe Soap here, not to blue check mark. But people like her, right, are the ones that make it hard for the LGBTQ plus community. And this is why, as Lee has brought up before as well, you have seen an upsurge in homophobic attacks and slurs because of people like Susan Miller, because of their stupid fucking rhetoric, right? Everybody has suffered. How fucking dare you, right? I know fucking people out there whose fucking family members have fucking contracted fucking COVID. I've even a few people here on the fucking channel that follow us fucking had COVID, right? And they were members of the LGBTQ plus fucking community. Everybody is suffering. It doesn't matter who you fucking are, skin color or whatever, as I said. We're all suffering. How fucking dare you? I bet you if you did a worldwide fucking poll, it'd be a smaller percentage anyway, you moron.
But here's the thing as well too. You know, I mean, it's this constant victim mentality, and that's constantly what it is. You know, it's trying to now point that the likes of the bear bug now is just going to point the finger at people who are in that community and go, right, your target, it's all on you. And I mean, that's the type of narrative that these people are trying to push and shift as well too, and they're trying to constantly victimize themselves and look for special preferential treatment and stuff. And it's just like, well, why would you get special preferential treatment when you're behaving like a fucking arsehole constantly? You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying that for the whole community, of course. It's only these couple of morons that are involving themselves in such shit. But I mean, that's why like the mainstream media has gone away, and it is being subtly and very much so eroded. I mean, you look at some of the big stations in the terms of viewerships that they're getting now, it's criminally they're criminally overestimating what they're getting. They are losing followers daily and multiple followers daily. And what's happening is now is they're afraid and people aren't listening anymore to them. And what happens is, years ago, what would have happened in this situation is that person, the likes of Susan, would have been listened to. Something would have been done about it and should be given a position on it. Now she's going to be laughing.
The US healthcare system anyway is a joke anyway. So this poll, I'm sorry, I know some people are saying there's some legitimacy in this article. I disagree, because the healthcare system is already in a shit storm already. What she's trying to say is that the pandemic is basically highlighted all of the issues that the LGBTQ plus community have with the healthcare system and stuff. That's not true. All Americans have a problem with the healthcare system. It's absolutely ridiculous. When Cheryl explained the way they do it over there, I was fucking confused. You got these big pharma fucking companies.
How much I'm disagreeing with you right now.
I don't care.
So don't bring me into this, because I completely disagree with your rant.
So I'm talking about the fact about the hospitals.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the fact that most LGBTQI people lost their health care during the pandemic, which is why they did disproportionately.
So has everybody else.
Not at the limit, they lost their rights.
No.
They lost their rights to be able to get health care. It's a completely different piece than just losing some of your. They have basically been denied health care rights during a pandemic. So yes, they have been disproportionately affected. And of course, if you did a global survey, the things would be different, because universal health care in the US healthcare does suck. But you're missing the point.
No, I'm actually not missing the point.
I can disagree.
Did Obama not introduce that sort of healthcare system?
I don't know who introduced it, but I mean, look, the healthcare system has always been
an absolute disgrace for decades. We're not starting with Obama. It's gone way back further.
Yeah, I know that. The healthcare, that's the point I'm trying to make. So you can't trust this poll. That's the whole point. And I think that rhetoric is fucking dangerous, right? Because you did a poll and you surveyed a certain amount of people. That's all you did. That's what a poll is. They only survey a certain amount of people.
I'm not saying that you can adjust a poll to be anything, but the heart of the message is that they've been disproportionately affected during the pandemic because they lost their health care rights isn't straight up fact. I'm not saying that the numbers are percent accurate, but you can't compare what other people in the pandemic are suffering based on the fact that they still have access to health care.
Well, as I said, a lot of Americans are having problems getting access to healthcare, and I think that's the point I'm just trying to make there. I'm not trying to make a big argument out of this. I'm not trying to cause any problems here. I just have my own viewpoint, and that's my viewpoint.
And you're entitled to your view, of course.
Disagree with me, but I honestly do believe, I never trust polls anyway. I've never trusted in my lifetime. I mean, because they only survey a certain amount of people on polls. So, if they want to do a proper poll and actually, it shows the real effects, then fine, then interview everybody. Go and poll everybody. Don't just poll a few people.
Here's an
article, by the way, that they're this, that, and the other. No, I don't buy it.
That's why they do the polls the way they do, is to shift the narrative and to make people buy into exactly what they're saying. And I mean, like comparing that woman comparing herself there to, you know, the likes of cancer patients and stuff like that is totally erroneous, and it's a false equivalence in that. And what happens is then people unfortunately buy in to exactly what she's saying. And I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about, is these SJW, you know, hive mind ideas of, oh yeah, the media are peddling this idea and they're peddling that this person is a bad person and all. And there's nothing actually substantial to stand behind that. I mean, they can do polls all they want, but polls are fine if you have the right amount of people and the right, what I'm saying, not right amount of people, what I'm saying is the right people to fill that poll. I mean, you know yourself as well too, even here in this country, it's the same. I mean, they put out polls, oh, Fine Gael are doing well. I wasn't asked about Fine Gael, you know what I mean? I don't think they're doing too fucking well. But if you ask people in certain constituencies, and like anything with humans, as we've actually seen, and there's video evidence out there of what's gone on over the last couple of weeks and months, video evidence of certain sort of tampering and stuff like that. When humans are involved with things, they are going to tamper. And it has been dialed up to 10 in the last couple of months, unfortunately. And like I said as well too about the streaming services earlier on, that's going to be a form of tampering as well too, because they're going to tell you that this thing is ultimately successful. They're going to tell you that Captain Marvel 2 is the most watched movie of all time. I'm fucking telling you. And it's going to be top rated on IMDb and all of these other Rotten Tomatoes shitholes. And they're going to try and peddle this narrative, and they're hoping people will be beaten into submissiveness. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that, because I don't want to cause any more trouble. I'm just giving me viewpoint, and that's what I do on this channel. If people don't agree with me, that's fine, fair enough. So, you know, that's just the way it is. But I think it's nonsense. It's the same old rhetoric that we get. You know, if it's not the LGBTQ plus community, it's some other group that they're moaning about and saying that are not being looked after and stuff. So I mean, look, I'm sick of it. I just, you know, sort out the healthcare system, and then you might have some. You know, you won't have to do all of this. But I mean,
literally, that is the issue. The U.S. healthcare system needs to be sorted
that's what
out,
I said.
because it's an absolute fucking
it's a shit show,
and everyone is suffering unless you are one of the lucky people that has some high-end insurance that is privately paid for, because everyone else is losing benefits or they don't have access to things. And because the way you have to go about things, that still a lot of people can't just go to a doctor. You have to be referred to a doctor. It has to be approved. You can't have a pre-existing condition to get medical insurance.
Yeah.
That's the huge shit show. There are lots of people that are being significantly affected during the pandemic in the United States because of what an absolute shit show it is. But I said this in the comments I said before. I worked for a company for 14 years that we did polls. We did marketing research data. We did all those kind of things. You can adjust a poll to basically represent anything you want based on the sample size you use, the demographics chosen, the time of day, all sorts of things. There's no such thing as a truly, completely unbiased poll, because you'd have to adjust it to skew for like percentage of the population and genders, and there's so many different aspects of it that you generally cannot have a neutral poll. So if you want your results to show something, and as I put in there, it's the same reason why when they do these polls now, Jodie Whittaker somehow becomes the bestest doctor that has ever existed in the Doctor Who universe, or anything, regardless of which side you are on the U.S. presidential election. The polls that Trump puts out show one thing, the polls that Biden puts out show something.
Exactly.
Polls are absolutely adjusted to create a reaction of people to respond a certain way.
That's why that's all I was trying to make out. I don't buy the fact that they've suffered more though either, because they've only polled a certain amount of people.
I said disproportionately.
Right. I mean, I'm just sick of it.
I feel like I still have to be able to say something, and I said it in the comments.
No, I know you did. It's grand. It's grand. You can have your say.
Because when people come and say that, like,
I don't care. People come after me over this anyway.
Come here and say things that other viewpoints aren't shared.
Well, I did. I threw up your comments.
I do think that I, more often than not, pipe in against Noel's.
Yeah, like you're doing now.
Yeah, to say something that I feel like it needs to be said, and if it's going to be done in my house, I get that right.
Your house?
Our house.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's get that straight.
Well done, you check that one nice there. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, you clocked that right away.
Yeah, I did clock that one right away. Of course I did.
Fucking dead right.
But listen. The end of the day, I just don't like this negative. I just don't like this divisive rhetoric. I think it's harmful to society. I think right now we're near a tipping point, and I do believe that if people like this Susan Miller keep pushing these things, it's gonna all flip back on people's faces. It's gonna really. And Lee has made a good couple of points there as well. He says, I've never been polled on the LGBT issues in my life, not once, right? And he also says, I love you, gal, but I agree with Noel.
Hey. I don't think she'd be happy with that one.
Well, in fairness, look, nobody's right or wrong here. I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying I don't think that these articles do any good. They don't do any good for the so-called community, because I don't believe in the community. Everybody's an individual, but this is the world that we live in. I don't think it does any good for the community. I think that Lee will even agree with me on this one. I mean, he has seen a rise in a lot of negativity towards certain parts of the community because of these kind of things. And I don't think, I think people like Susan should be a bit more responsible. And I think when they're putting out an article like that, especially the way they've worded it, they should think about before they do stuff. You know, they clearly don't think, they're clearly not using their brains. You know, you've got to be careful the way you do things, because, and again, I never trust polls. I never have in my whole life anyway, and I never will. So, you know, listen, at the end of the day, I'm going to stick to what I said. We're all suffering during this pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just one people. We're all suffering. And if people have a problem saying that, that's fine, fair enough. But I'm not going to get into an argument with anybody. I'm not being transphobic here either, by the way. You're a grown-ass adult. To do whatever the fuck you want.
It's the oppression Olympics, you say. That's the problem.
With you. You are, well, I want to be perfectly clear. Everyone is welcome to agree with Noel on those kind of things, and I am okay saying I'm in the minority. And as I put in the comments, this is how you have a discussion when two people feel very strongly about something. Come on opposite sides. You both say what you want to say.
And it's done.
You stick to the topic.
Yeah.
You don't punch anyone. You don't attack anyone personally.
Exactly.
You say, this is how I feel. This is why I feel this way. This is my experience. This is where I'm coming from. You let the other person talk, and then you agree to disagree. And then if somebody goes, you know what, Cheryl, I still think you're wrong, and I disagree with you. You go, okay, fair enough. You're entitled to do that.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that.
Right. You're getting a bit lippy since you did the stream last night. Do you know what's at the happening here in Ninja Night? She's at the getting the YouTube bug.
I'm here.
Yeah. I think she should start her own channel. I'm going to be honest with you. I think she should start her own channel. I think people would be.
Being honest, I'm actually starting to think that I might have to launch my wife onto the YouTube stratosphere. What do you think, guys?
No.
I don't know, because we seem to be getting very.
No, I'm just talking.
You got the old YouTube bug there, you know. But again, we don't agree on this, right? But as soon as this stream is over, because someone were making the jokes on Noel is in for a long night. No. Well, here's the thing. It'll be forgotten about.
Lee, as a gay man, is disagreeing with me. So I'm okay with that too, because again, I'm not the spokesperson for the LGBTQI community. I'm sharing my viewpoint. And if other people want to disagree with me, regardless of what's out there, and that's the way it should be for everyone. If Noel feels that way, he's allowed to do that. I'm still allowed to say my piece and move on. But you know what? After this is done, we're not going to talk about it, and it's not going to be an issue.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And it doesn't be. We will just go and we'll watch our scary videos that we've been watching the last couple of nights.
No, because I'm telling you, there's a ghost in the house now. You brought demons.
That's your fault. Right, listen, guys, right? There's been weird shit happening in the apartment lately.
That's how you get demons.
Right? And it all started because Cheryl one day decided, was it last week, let's watch some of the scary videos that we used to watch last year. So, okay. So we start watching, and I'm not messing, right? Now, I don't know if it's mine, because I'm the type of person, I'm a very skeptical person, and I have to see things in front of my face before I believe them, and that includes with paranormal activity, right? But I'm telling you now, we've been watching these really dark videos on weird shit that's happened, like ghostly stuff and murders and stuff like this, right? And I'm not telling you a word of a lie. But over the last couple of nights, stuff has just been creaking. The fucking something fell. It was like, it was weird. It's like we feel like we're being bleeding watched now. But of course, that could be just our minds playing tricks on us, because we have been. Because I'm the type of person. Do you ever see those videos where people go to haunted houses and they're jumping all over the place and they're really frightened? Well, they're like that because they've been told what the place is, so it gets into your psyche. So it's there. So when you go there, you're already heightened up, but you don't realize it.
We also need to be clear when we talk about the scary videos, because I think this makes it even more entertaining. When we're talking scary videos, we're talking minor scary videos that someone on YouTube is like doing a countdown. Here's some stuff caught on camera where they're talking through. Like, there's nothing actually terrifying happening, but I'm like freaking out, jumping off the couch and stuff, and I'm like making Noel walk me into the bedroom with the lights on and checking under the bed.
I literally,
I'm a grown ass woman who's afraid of the dark.
we were lying in bed last night watching The Mandalorian, right? And
No spoilers.
No, I won't, but we're not doing The Mandalorian. But then after that, we decided to watch this channel that we watch that puts up these type of videos, as Cheryl was actually talking about. And we were sitting there, and I think it was a half an hour in, and we just heard this thump, right? And then I seen this video, and there's someone literally under someone's bed, right? What did I do? I jumped up out of the bed to look under the fucking bed. I start getting fucking paranoid, man. I swear, I don't know whether it's just because this whole situation and everything's being heightened, but I literally am convinced that there's something in this apartment. I'm hearing weird shit. And you know, I was even gonna download that app. You know, the app that you can download. It's like a spirit box thing where you can see if there's anybody in your gaff when you're asleep. You just leave it on and see if there's any weird sounds while you're asleep. I was gonna do that, but then I was saying if I do that, then I might actually fucking awaken whatever is here. But I'm telling you, there's been weird shit going on, light bulbs and all that in the bollocks. Me Batman moved. By the way, me Batman has moved behind you.
Yeah, I bumped it.
All right, then that's
okay.
okay.
The same reason when you came in here and you think some ghost moved the clothes for us when you moved it to clean the rug for Ted.
No, man. I didn't move it over there, though. I'm telling you.
It's been there for like.
I'm telling you, there's some. You might think this is all weird, but there's some weird shit happening in this apartment. I'm going to get down to the bottom of it. But here, I was thinking of doing something. Actually, Cheryl won't do it with me. Maybe you might, Ninja Night. We could hook up sometime.
Hang on. If you suggest something that I think you're going to suggest, you know, rusty trombones and stuff like that, that Rabbi was talking about. I think not now. You know.
I was going to actually say, do Urban Explorer. Fuck off. Urban Explorer. We could go to one of these haunted fucking places that's supposed to be haunted and do an Urban Exploring fucking video. They seem to be very popular with people. But I don't get scared by shit like that. But lately with these videos, and I don't, Cheryl will be sitting there. I'm not messing. I have seen the Gettysburg's ghosts, by the way.
I can't even watch a scary film and have the lights off. I'm serious. Can't do
it. Do you get frightened with that? Because I don't. But see Cheryl, right?
Do you know what it is?
This video, and she will jump, scream. She literally gives me a fright from her reaction.
Do you know what freaks me out is the likes of the Exorcist and stuff like that, because those type of things happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And like even with the likes of the exorcism of Emily Rose and all that freaks me out, because I'm like those things occur. Do you know what I mean? And like there are exorcisms that happen and stuff like that, and that fucking freaks me out, man.
Yous are pussies. Yous are all pussies, man.
Yeah, you know what? We may be pussies. You know what? But demons aren't attacking us because we're not going out for finding them.
So what? Even if a demon attacked me, I'd be all right with it. Then I'd have me proof.
Okay, you're really talking some hard ass shit right
Oh,
now.
no, because I would listen. Apparently, right, someone
He
bought.
would run screaming
No,
like a
I
girl,
wouldn't.
you're
Listen, do you
saying.
know what? There's places apparently around the world that are so haunted that you can go and stay in. But there's only one house that I actually want to stay in for the 28 days. Because after 21 days is when you start apparently going crazy. It's the house, the Amityville Horror House. That's the house.
Yeah, you should definitely stay at the Amityville Horror House and go insane. That would be a quality good thing to happen to the world.
I'm being honest, I would love to stay there, have cameras set up, do a 24-hour live, 24-hour a day live stream up, and me in the house just doing everyday normal stuff until all the shit starts hitting the fan. I've always wanted, seriously, even as a kid, I've had this morbid obsession with being frightened because Cheryl will tell you, I watch a horror now and I laugh. I can't get a fright. It's very, it will take a really good horror now to scare the shit out of me. See, it's my mom's fault though, because she desensitized me to horror movies when I was a kid, like all Irish mommies do. So, I mean, I watched The Exorcist at 12 years of age or something. So, I mean,
Oh my
it
God.
was considered one of the most scariest movies at the time, and that does nothing for me now. I mean, even Nightmare on Elm Street, even the newer horrors today. I tell you what movie did make me feel slightly uncomfortable. And it was the very first Sinister movie. That was the closest that I got to a fright. But even then, I wasn't frightened. I just, you know, I felt uneasy, but that was it. But I don't get frightened anymore with horror movies or stuff like that, or ghost videos or stuff. So, I mean, I would really love to do it. So if anybody's out there owns the Amityville Horror House and you want someone staying in for 28 days and yeah, for free, here I am.
And
Here
live
I am.
streaming.
I'll do it. Fuck that, man. We'll see what happens. And if I do change, then you will get to see that there is something in the fucking house, won't you?
I think you're the paranormal activity in the house there where you are now.
I maybe am the paranormal activity. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Yeah, I love Paranormal Activity. I love the first one. The fog still freaks me out. Yay. The fog is nothing. The fog is
No.
nothing.
It wouldn't freak me out. I think what I'm saying to you is the first one is good. Like,
No, the Lee is saying that the fog still freaks me out, and I'm saying, no, are you really? Seriously?
yeah, I think it's okay. Like,
I don't think that the frog terrified. Oh, you were a kid when you watched it. Okay, made worse for the fact that it was set on my birthday. All right, Lee, I can kind of get that one then. But it was kind of like the fog. Really, the fog scares you?
no, it doesn't scare me. It's just it's
the Omen movies. I love them. Are they scary? No, not really. They're about the Antichrist. But I mean, look, didn't scare the shit out of me. Let me see, what other horror movies had they got? Back in the day.
When I was growing up, one of the movies, well, not growing up because I was like grown.
Right.
But, when the movie Candyman, the original Candyman was released.
Jesus.
And I saw that in the cinema.
Oh, yeah, because you don't
I not only screamed so loud, I literally jumped up and over my seat into the people behind me.
Wow.
They were a little shocked.
See, I don't. Yeah, and she's right. I want to do that. I want to do that random Nadia thing. So basically, there's this new app that you can download on your phone, right? And then it'll send you coordinates to this location, right? And then you have to go out to this location, and then you find stuff, and then it'll give you coordinates to go to another location. There's actually videos on it on YouTube where people do this, but they come across some weird shit. There was some fella that came across a whole doll museum on the side of a road where there was loads of dolls. Someone found pieces of rope and tape. Oh, it was weird. Like these people, it's a whole community. And basically what they do is as I said, you get these coordinates, you go, I want to do that. As Cheryl says, I want to do it. Because I love all of that shit. And that's what I was originally going to do the second channel as, being honest with you.
Right.
I was really seriously thinking about doing all of that urban exploring and paranormal stuff because, you know, I don't believe it.
But that comes in under your banner for that one.
And the only way that I'll get proof is if I see it, and I have to see it to believe it. So for me, that's the way I am. That's why Cheryl will hate me for saying this, but that's why I don't believe in God. unless I see it, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. You know, I knew Jesus was around because there's historical records to prove that he was around, but we've never seen God. So if I haven't seen him, he doesn't exist. It's the same with ghosts. If I haven't seen them personally, they don't exist. So this is why I've always wanted to do this stuff, because I want to see if there is something after life. Because if I did have a paranormal experience, I'd probably have a whole different outlook on life and the meaning of life, if you get me. And that's why I want to do it. But Cheryl wouldn't be brave enough. There's a couple of haunted places in Ireland as well. There's a place that people can't even stay the night that it's that haunted. Guarantee you I could. There's nobody that could scare me, man. Seriously. And even if there is paranormal stuff, it won't scare me. Because, see, here's the thing. This is the mistake that people make. Before they even go in, they know they're going to these places. They're already frightened. Their subconscious is already telling them that shit is going to happen. Whereas I'm different. I don't think like that. My subconscious won't be like that because I'll be thinking of fairies or unicorns or whatever. Or maybe a big joint. But that's what I'll be thinking about. And that's what I'll do as well. Have an old joint before I go into one of these places. And, you know. But I want to do it. So Ninja Knight, I can't believe I'm asking you. If you wanted to do some paranormal activity, would you be on for it?
Yeah, I'd do an hour, yeah.
Do you know why I'd love to do it though? Because I'm obviously not going to be scared. I don't know what you're like, but if you're like Cheryl, it's going to be funny. Because that to me is funny. Not well.
I am so fucking extra.
Yeah, actually, we do have a video that I threw up ages ago where Cheryl's reacting to jump scares on YouTube. She literally leaps from the floor. Yeah. Cheryl is really scared of the least little thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fat baby.
I know. I'm not too bad with stuff like that, but you know, I suppose when you see the likes of the Exorcist, for me, I'm just like, well, anything else that you see in the movie ain't real. And unless they say to me like this is an experience that someone has shared, I'm like, that now freaks the fuck out of me, because I'm like, I don't want to know that that's actually happened.
Look, when I see these videos, I'm not denying that these things are happening. Some can be fake, but I want to experience it myself.
There's a cracker about comment.
But what's that?
PD Rich says, I wonder what Father Christopher Miller's take on The Exorcist is. I would love to know that. I would absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah, that would be
a great comment.
Watching The Exorcist. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
I would love to know.
Version, though.
I would also, and just to say it to you, I would like to know if Father Christopher Miller knows any stories in relation to that. Now, I don't know if you can tell. I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that anybody to badger poor Father Christopher.
If Father Miller has experienced some paranormal,
I'd love to know it. I would absolutely love to know it. But I don't know whether he can or whether it's what's the word I want to use? I don't know whether that's a thing he's unable to do. You know, through the being a man of the cloth and stuff like that. You know, I don't know. But if he can, I'd love to know.
So Lee says The Exorcist made him piss himself laughing. Okay. Your mother, that line was a bit much. Yeah, actually was. That whole crucifix scene. I remember I actually got to see it with the crucifix scene because it was banned mostly all around. But on videotape, you could actually get the full version with the crucifix scene in it. And then when she pushes her mom's face down and she says that line, famous line, that was, listen, to me still, the practical effects. I know it's kind of aged badly now, but that was, for me, the quintessential horror. That was the benchmark for horrors. And I don't think still to this day that any movie has come close. Now, they have done updated versions. You had The Exorcism of Emily Rose, but you also had a spin-off of the original Exorcist movies, which were great. Now, there was two movies that were made by two different directors, but the thing about this is that they were quite similar. They were about the priest, his journey before he went to do The Exorcist. So do you know the way he says in the original movie that he'd already performed an exorcist? Well, this is what this movie is about. It's about that exorcist. And there's a scene in it which is, I have to be honest, it actually did throw me because I didn't think it happened. But there's a scene where there's a kid and he's standing in a courtyard or something, or he's standing somewhere, and a bunch of hyenas come in, and they literally tear him apart. It was.
Oh, no. That's grim.
No, that was in The Exorcist. It was. I never seen that like it before. Now the updated versions were good, but they don't. But still, I still love the original, and I know it does make people laugh, but I love it. I do. I watch that still to this day. Alpha Omega with $20 super chat says a pre-Merry Christmas donation. Ho ho, ho ho. You forgot the other ho.
He's cracking himself up.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you very much, Alpha Omega. I really appreciate it. Have you ever had the channel ghosted? Well, apparently some of my streams have been ghosted. If that's what you're talking about, the YouTube thing. Exorcist 3 is underrated. I agree with you. It is underrated, actually. I'd even go as far as to say that the second one is actually quite good as well, but a lot of people kind of try and ignore that one. But I actually thought the second one with the two old ladies and the what was it, the lampshade was actually good. It wasn't too bad. Look, I love all those classic horror movies. And then you've got your B horror movies as well, which I love. But and he gave you the ho. So there you go. So it's ho, ho, ho. Alpha Omega. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, look, it's something that I am fascinated with. It's a whole, like, I love all of that. I love cults and all. I'm into all of that, like studying them, not actually being part of a cult, because, you know, nobody wants to be part of a fucking cult. But I am fascinated by all of this stuff, and it's something that I'm really considering doing. I would love to be able to go to some of these haunted places in Ireland, stay overnight in them, and see if there actually is, if I could pick up any sort of activity. See, the thing about me is, right, do you know, ever watch those paranormal activity shows, and there's a load of them, right? So you don't know if there's people hidden away in these buildings making these noises. But if it's me and Alpha Omega, we're two straight Irish guys, right? We don't bullshit, right? So if it's us two and we have our camera set, we're not going to be acting the bollocks, right? We're going to be really looking out for this kind of stuff. And I think that's why, you know, it'd be better, because for the simple fact is we wouldn't lie. You know, you'd get a genuine reaction if we really did see something or felt something. Trust me, you'd get a genuine reaction. Sometimes I watch these paranormal and it's set up so badly. I mean, they think they can fool people with some of that stuff. And I hate all those paranormal shows, because I think they do the paranormal community an injustice, because there are genuine people out there, ordinary citizens like ourselves, that take it upon themselves. Actually, there's a great channel on YouTube. Watch our man. Remember, he finds the shadow man. He actually has great footage in his house. Remember the house? He's a paranormal investigator, yeah. But he
guy.
Yeah,
from
him.
Maine. He's from Maine.
Yeah, he has a channel, right? And basically, he moved into this house. Now he's a paranormal expert. But I'm telling you, right?
No, I actually don't think he was. I think he's just documenting crazy stuff that was.
No, your man said in the next video that we watched, your man said that that's what he did, but he came back to his home as a place where he wasn't dealing with that. But then,
because he brought demons.
and then he reckons that Jordan, one of his taunts, that when he came back home, that he had brought a spirit, or a spirit had followed him home. His lampshades were moved, and I'm telling you, yeah. But this is the thing, though, right? You look at this, right? And I was trying to look, because I'm a skeptic, as you know. I was like, right, I have to see where the fakery is going on here. I am telling you guys, I looked at this. Now, I didn't get a fright, but I certainly was like, holy shit, that is legit. That looks legit. Your man, even his reaction, it's legit. And he's done several videos since, and this black shadow, because there's supposed to be shadow people, apparently. This black shadow is doing all sorts of nasty crap. Jumps out, the one where he jumps out of the curtain, right? Even Cheryl herself, when you seen that, the way it fell off the curtain, you could see it. It was fucking weird. This thing is, I love stuff like that. I really do. Well, listen, I think I'm boring everybody, because we've lost about 7-8 people since we started talking about stuff. I just, come on. Well, it has been a long stream, yeah. And Is there anything else though before we finish Ninja Night? I know we jump from topic to topic, but that's what I love about Airstreams.
Yeah.
We do jump from topic to topic. Is there anything else you'd like to bring up before we finish the stream tonight?
That's legitimately about it. I'm delighted to be back after a couple of weeks hiatus, and thanks very much for having me back as well.
Man,
too,
listen, I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
back. I didn't know. I have to be honest. At first, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But then when you explained that you're on the move and stuff, that was fine. I was just, then I was thinking, is he gonna come back? But I'm glad you're here. I should have taken Lee, because I do get a bit like that. Or does he not want to be on the channel anymore? And Lee was just like, just fucking talk to him. I said,
Yeah.
Because I do get like that sometimes. It's like, have I said something to him?
No, never. No. Listen, the thing is, like, we have a great bleeding laugh on this, and this was something I was very much so looking forward to coming back to as well too, because we've enjoyed our Wednesday night chats and our weekly chats, because we do quite a bit as well too. So it's just about the setup. The setup took a little bit longer than normal. Then life happens in as well too. So just unfortunately was just a little bit slower. I was trying to get videos out personally myself as well too, just to keep the channel ticking over before I got back into the live streams. And then of course I think because I'd been away for so long as well too, it just getting the time around and sorting it out was grand. But I'm delighted that you said to me, "Are we doing it today?" And brilliant stuff. I'm delighted with that. And again, like I think this is probably our longest stream on a Wednesday, but I think because we needed so much of a catch up, and this has been brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Like this, time has absolutely shot by.
I agree with that, and I've really enjoyed it as well. Believe it or not, it's been a great stream. In fairness, I didn't plan for it to go this long, but we had so much to talk about.
Yeah,
and we did talk about other stuff. And I hope you did like it, guys. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to. I know we talked about football for a little bit, and none of you really like that. Sports. I know you didn't really like that a bit, but we do try talk about different topics and cater to everybody. But while we're on, remember, you guys can also, if you want us to talk about anything, and we obviously if we've read anything about it, let us know as well. I mean, it's not restricted. We can talk about almost anything on these streams. Obviously, there's certain topics that that we shouldn't. I don't even know what I was going to say.
Start playing music to get people to wrap up their speeches.
Right. I said I was going to go, but why are you going with the 10-minute countdown?
She's like the bouncer in the nightclub.
I know she is.
Flicking lights on and off. All right, folks, time for home now. There's no homes to go to.
She's like, last orders, get away.
Start flicking the lights on and off. You'll start to get the idea then.
That's the gas thing in an Irish pub, right? The barman will be going. No, but listen, the barman will bleed and shout. Last order. Oh no, we'll go. Are you ready there, folks? We're way over time, right? But then you can go up to the bar. Yeah, give us a quick point before. Yeah, well, what do you want? Point again. Yeah, there you go. And then there he is, literally shouting at you to get out after you've been serving you a pint of bleeding again. I remember at the time, at the end of the night, last orders. I'd order about 5 bleeding pints, and then about half an hour later, that bleeding barman be shouting for us to go. I'd be literally necking pints back, because no way am I going to leave an empty pint. No way am I leaving a full pint there in a pub and pay for it.
I'd sooner take a plastic bleeding glass out than I would leave a pint anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Right, do me a favor. Now that you're back and all, give your shout outs, your social media, your YouTube channel. If you have anything coming up, let they'll know as well, so they know to hit the notification button and all of that.
Yeah, okay. Listen, it's been great on the Wednesdays. Our Wednesdays is Craic In Time, and fantastic to be back on the channel. It's been something I've missed over the last couple of weeks as well too. So big thanks to Noel for having me back on again. It's a beautiful chat and a beautiful night tonight. Now it was yet again, because we've had so many. Top man as well too on top YouTube channel. So again, if anybody's here from my side of things, make sure you subscribe to Noel's channel, to the official TARDIS sound. He also has the Irish Geek as well too. Make sure you get in there and give him a sub as well too on that one. My channel is Ninja Night. You will see it is a black and red sort of I suppose signal that's on it, because there's another guy that has a similar name as well too, so just be careful on that one. The other guy is streaming video games at the moment. I plan to do that in the future. I'm talking about everything: movies, TV series, action figures, you name it, sport, I'm into it, and I'm talking about it all. So I've been uploading videos over the last couple of days to do with the Marvel slate, the Disney slate, some of the stuff that's been going on, even in the Irish sport here with Gaelic football, funnily enough, and various other things. So do check it out.
Yeah, and remember, it's Gaelic football, not Gaelic football. For people out there that spelled it wrong.
And obviously a big thanks to Sharon as well.
Gay football earlier. That was funny when someone thought I said gay football earlier. It's Gaelic football. It's Irish. But check it out. I would suggest, listen, even if you're not a fan of sports, even check out clips of Gaelic football and hurling. Seriously, check them out and you'll see it. It's fucking gas. Irish Geek UFC. Maybe later on tonight, Alpha. Yeah, haven't played UFC in a while. Why not? Might kick some ass later. Yeah,
whoop some ass.
So we'll do that. It's UFC 2. Unfortunately, I don't have 3 and 4. Can't afford it yet. But I have UFC 2. It's still a good game.
Brilliant.
So I do a few challenges on that as well. Do have a bit of fun on the Irish Geek. And there you go. PD Rich has spelled it properly. That's how you spell Gaelic football there.
Nice one, PD Rich.
Well done, pal. Well done. That's it. And it's a great. Seriously, check them out. Even what is some couple of clips. Right, I'm stopping. Right, what? Jesus Christ, I'm gonna bar you
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, she's barred. Right, Cheryl's not on the channel anymore. Yeah. Right, I'll get Teddy on. You don't worry.
You don't have a camera.
I have a dog. It's my dog.
You don't have a camera.
I'll get a camera. I'll buy a camera. I'll get a camera. Me and Teddy will do our streams by ourselves. See, even those. Come over to Daddy. Well, don't forget, don't mind Mammy. Mammy's not going to give you any toast. Right, I'm off. So tomorrow, what am I doing tomorrow? Thursday, obviously we got the quiz tomorrow on Rabbi's channel. If he's doing it, I don't know if he's doing it, but that's the plan. And then we're back here tomorrow then for the Mandalorian latest episode review before the finale, obviously. And then we're back Friday for the Third of Zone Talk, Saturday for Classic Who, and then Sunday for New Who. And that's basically it. So I'm going to say goodnight now, because if I don't, I will get a frying pan across the head. So I'm going to have to say goodnight. So good night, everybody. Thank you for the super chats as well. I really appreciate it. Thanks to me moderators. And Ninja Knight, thanks for coming back on. I really did actually enjoy this stream. I have to say,
brilliant.
Definitely one of our best so far. Anyway, because we talked about a lot, and this is the type of thing that you'll get every Wednesday. So we're on Ninja Nights. I just want to make it clear, actually, so you know how this works. So this week we're on my channel. So next week we're on Ninja Nights channel for the same show. So if you haven't subscribed to Ninja Nights channel, please do, because that's where you'll see me on Wednesday. I'll be on Ninja Nights channel and we'll be doing a Craic In Time. I've actually changed the name now from What's the Crack, because the trailer that Lee is working on is called A Craic In Time. So that's the name of the show, A Craic In Time. So next Wednesday we're on Ninja Nights channel. So please do subscribe if you haven't already, because that's where you'll get me over there, and you'll get Ninja Knight obviously because it's his channel. But you're seeing it. You get two Irish men together and you see 4 hours of talking. We're as bad as the fucking women. We're as bad as the women. Sorry, that's sexist. We're as bad as the women. But there you go. That's us Irish have a lot to talk about. So
we do.
Yeah.
And it's been a couple of weeks and we had an awful lot to talk about. So it was brilliant, and I much appreciate it.
Not about it. Listen, I'm glad you're back anyway, and it'd be good to see our videos up there as well. And Matthew Pounder did say he's been enjoying your Mandalorian videos. So, so Matthew has been supporting me from day one. We actually, me and Matthew started out on Facebook groups fighting the J-bots when they started. So he's been here from the very beginning. So I got him into season 1 of The Mandalorian. I don't think he's watched season 2 yet. I do have them. I will try get them to you, Matthew, after. I'll wait until the last episode airs. And then when I have them all, I'll send them to you so you can watch them whenever you want, like the last time. Right, I'm going to shut up now.
You look after that woman.
I will indeed. I will indeed. I'm gonna cook something now for
Brilliant.
myself. I don't know if she wants that, but she did say she was hangry earlier.
So I
So
just had some toast.
you just had toast as an
She's
appetizer.
like a gremlin. Don't feed her after midnight now, you know. So.
I know. That's why I've got it down.
That's serious.
Yeah.
Serious.
And I do love that movie as well. And by the way, you did mention, before we do go, you did mention the Turtles movies. I'll tell you what. After Christmas, the new year, we'll do them on my channel here. I'll tell you what, we'll rotate them. We'll rotate them. We'll do one on my channel, then one on so on and so on. And we'll do the 90s ones, and we'll also do the new updated ones as well. Yeah. If you want to do the animation or the CGI version that they did, that I've never actually sat down and watched.
So good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Right, well, we'll check them out. We'll do that next year. So, folks, there you go. After Christmas, the new year, myself and Ninja Knight will be delving into the world of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever you want to call them, use ourselves. I know the name changed over the years, but so go and check us out. Right, I'm going to shut up now. I'm gone. Here's the trailer. See you later. This is Lee's work, by the way. Go and check it out.
My fault.
Good night, folks.